All right, welcome everybody to the Trackalicious GT3 Championship, round number 9, if I'm counting correctly, at Barcelona. We have a doubleheader for tonight. The first race being a 30-minute sprint race, with the second being a 60-minute doubleheader. Sorry for the late start here. As you can probably tell, different voice from the broadcast booth. My name is Ed Kerstetter. Mex had a previous commitment, and I'm stepping in to stream. I'll apologize right off the bat. Never really streamed before. Just got the streaming overlays and stuff set up 10 or 15 minutes ago, so I hope you bear with me here. Worked through some technical difficulties in the beginning, and by the end, hopefully we have a decent stream for you. We're starting a little bit late tonight on the stream. As you can see, qualifying has just ended with a few cars still out on track. And before I get much further, if I could get a little mic check here just to make sure you can hear the game, hear me. Eric will be my co-broadcaster while driving today, so you could hear him. If there's any issues, please let me know and I'll adjust the volume appropriately.
Yeah, I'm actually in process of putting my one and done lap down here after our adventure in setting up the stream. Hey, 14th, that's not bad. We have some pretty interesting qualifying session here with wet start of the qualifying session going into dry. So interesting to see who had picked wet tires, dry tires, but I think that would have been a winner or loser for most drivers here. So good evening, Ed. Thanks for hopping in to help us stream this event tonight, and happy to have you.
Sure, thanks. Yeah, it looks like qualifying just wrapped up, and a little shocker at the front of the grid. Rivera comes in at the very end, it looks like, in the McLaren to take pole position away from Riley Menier. Third is Lindauer. Fourth, Kaslassi. Fifth, Burkhoff. Train Boy coming in sixth. Free in seventh. Willis, Josh Willis, eighth. McKessie in ninth, and Pickrell rounding out the top 10. Looks like we have a healthy assortment of Porsches in the top 10, with the McLaren and the Ferrari and the Lexus rounding out the top 3. All right, we got about 3 minutes before session start. Cars are gridding. That is a terrible camera angle. Let me switch to TV2. There we go. So you can see the grid here. We are at Barcelona. See how prepared I am here. Weather-wise, we're looking at, see if I can pull that up.
It's looking sunny, cloudy for the next, right now, 3 minutes, 10 minutes with a fast track temperature, 25 degrees Celsius, track temperature 31, just coming off of that wet quali session.
Thank you. I am still navigating the changes here. Let's see if I hit drive. There we go. Okay, there we go. Now I can see the HUD. Yep. Yeah, fast track, 25C, ambient 32 track with little to no wind. 2 minutes left before we start rolling on the formation lap.
All right, Ed, I'm going to lean into your knowledge as my co-commentator teammate here.
Sure.
I have a 23-27 ambient and track temp setup, and it's up to 32, considering taking the pressures up probably 2 clicks maybe to set it up for the temperature difference, maybe 3.
Yeah, if your setup's based on 23, ambient's the big one. So I would really just go. Let's see, it's going to get hotter, so you want to go down about 2 or 3 clicks on the tire pressures. Should be okay. Usually the big differentiator is the ambient temperature when it comes to setting pressures. You're looking at sort of like 0.8 change for every 10 degrees, whereas the ambient only it's like 0.2 or something like that. It's per 10 degrees for ambient temperature. So the track the track does that. The ambient's the one that really has the most effect.
And for those of you who can't tell by that extremely detailed statement there, Ed's one of the more competitive guys in the league, and his knowledge is vast and very, very helpful, as you could tell.
Well, thanks. Hopefully that'll transfer to some of these overlays. Hopefully I'll be able to get the hang of it here coming through. Sorry, no manual PTZ camera tilts and things like that for this. This will be a little bit basic on the presentation side, but we'll hopefully put on a good broadcast, and I know the drivers will put on a good race for everybody at this fun Barcelona track. Definitely one of the more frustrating tracks on the calendar, at least for me. Track limits here can come into play. And turn one is always interesting with the right hand, left hand kind of switchback. You'll see probably a lot of cars running wide. And we're hearing the engines fire up. The car is starting to drop off the jacks, and we'll get rolling here in just about 10 seconds.
So Ed, while we go through our what's it called? Formation lap. That's the word. Sometimes my brain doesn't work very well, especially when I'm trying to do multiple things. So while we go through our formation lap, how do you feel about this 1.8 update?
It's being a Porsche driver, it's a little frustrating. At least on the Porsche, I haven't really driven any of the cars since the update. It's a lot more. It's harder to keep the Porsche on edge to turn in fast lap times. The operating window's much less, and so the two tracks I've driven at, it's definitely harder. I don't know if that equates itself to the other cars as well. If that was a generic change across everybody, or it affected cars a little bit differently, but certainly caused me a lot of headache. Still causing me a lot of headache, and I'm sure it's causing some of these drivers some headache getting used to the different feel. The different sort of tire model. A lot have been changed on the tire model, where the cars just feel, it almost feels like a different game in some respects. So wet conditions too, big change in 1.8 with wet. We ran Donington last week at 949, and it was wet. Both races were wet, and it was drying. And I don't know if we'll see any wet weather today, but the wet line is very important. Usually before 1.8 you could sort of drive any line and it didn't matter where the drying line was, and it was fast. Here you kind of have to, or with wet conditions, if we get them, you kind of have to follow the dry line, and there's a lot of time to be gained in the dry line as opposed to running your normal line that you would normally run pre 1.8. So we'll see if that comes into play today. I'm going to pull up a track map here. Go ahead.
To me, that sounds like it's more realistic, if anything, right? I mean, you would think, as
for
in
sure,
real life, that if you don't follow the dry line, you're gonna suffer for it. So I feel like it's been tough to adapt to the new update, especially given that we're mid to end season here. But I kind of like the new update. It feels a little bit more real to me. I feel like the force feedback's been updated as well, which I think is great. I have a better sensibility, I feel like, in the race. So I'm excited to see how this plays out. This is our first GT3 race with the 1.8 update, so curious to see how everyone lines up.
Yeah, and I've heard tire wear too is definitely more realistic, and tire wear, I think extreme camber values and things like that can really come into play. Probably won't see it too much on the 30-minute race, but maybe on the 60-minute you'll start to see some of the tire wear changes come into play, where drivers may be fast initially but may slow down a little bit if they're running kind of extreme camber values, caster values, things the toe on their setups. So all right, we're coming around to turn 14 at Barcelona. Almost ready to take the right-hand turn on the long first straightaway. And so we'll get focused in here on the leaders. You have Rivera in the yellow McLaren on the left-hand side of the screen. Now right next to him is Rylan Minier in the Ferrari. So we'll see with everything changing in 1.8, we'll see what happens here. Usually, I think they're probably going to be pretty evenly matched down into turn one if they both get a good jump. Might be going in side by side in green light. Here we go. Drag race down into turn one. Looks like the Ferrari gets a fantastic start on the outside. Rivera jumps in line, but you have Lindauer taking him on the inside, not willing to stay behind, and they go kind of single file into turn one. Lindauer almost going to poke in there, but jumps back in line. And Rivera back to third in the McLaren. Looks like behind, pretty clean. It looks like going through turn number 4. Looks like everybody is pointing forward right now. Man, that is a big field. Look at all those cars. My apology. I don't know if I have all the liveries, so sorry if people looked at it. Oh, we got a McLaren off. Looks like the number 6 off track. That is Orozco. Gets it back on, pointed in the right direction. And we had one car, like Eric maybe, off track as well in the Porsche.
Yeah, I had someone in front of me almost brake checked me, but I'm sure it was someone in front of them. So unfortunately, I gave them a little tap, but I think they were okay, and I lost, what, 10, 15 places, I think.
Looks like
okay.
it. At least you're going straight, no contact. So here we go, back at the front. Meneer leading the way by a little over a half second. Down into turn 10. Got Burkhoff in 4th, and then you sort of have a gaggle of cars behind, led by Castellassi, Free, and Willis. And then a little bit of a gap back to Train Boy. And we'll see what happens here down the main straight. Local yellow flag for the 4 car in the back, Reed Aldred. Shy Guy in the Lamborghini, pointing in the right direction, and now we go back to the front. See what's happening here. Meneer pulling out over a 1 second lead over Lindauer. Pretty strung out here. Pretty much all the way through. Looks like no move. Oh, you got a move inside by Provolone. Let's see if he's going to make it stick on Allen. No, backs off a little bit wisely. See if he can set him up for the long sweeping turn number 3. But they fall single file. A little bit too much curve there. Looks like King is trying to see if he can take advantage of that. Ooh, dives it in real deep. We'll see. No contact. Trying to make a move on the outside. They fall back single file. See if this Ferrari tries to do anything. Bravo, nope. Single file as well. So relatively clean first lap here. Oh, look at the forecast here. We're looking at rain in 10 minutes. This will spice things up. So it looks like with about 15 minutes to go, we'll start seeing some rain.
I'll tell you something, Ed. Driving with front end damage at Barcelona, I wouldn't advise it. It's not fun.
A little understeering?
Oh my god. and you totally lose the top end in the straight, so it's
already on the Porsche. So you got a double whammy, the Porsche and front end damage on the Porsche. Might as well be driving a lawnmower.
Yep.
All right, so Meneer pulling out a pretty decent 1.5 second gap. Front 3 stay the same with Lindauer and Rivera. About 2.5 seconds drop off to Burkhoff. And field relatively strung out. Looks like we got a good battle back here. See if we see any moves. This is Snyder in the Bentley. Wassam moves to the inside to block, protect the inside. See if Snyder will throw it down the outside. No, it's very hard to make a move on the outside there. You're almost trying to set the guy up where he has to compromise his entry, and then you try to get him through this complex here. Very hard to really legitimately make it stick on the outside, going into turn 1 with the cross back over to turn 2.
We have a Reed in the back here with an overly ambitious little braking point. Blows through the corner a bit, but fortunately does not take anyone out. He was very conscious of his positioning and avoided a Roscoe in the back here.
Oh, looks like Josh Willis is in the pits. Don't know if that was planned. He's rolling now. Interesting. I don't think that'll be any sort of strategy call, since I don't think there's a mandatory pit stop for this. And with the rain coming, they're going to have to stop anyway, so might have had some contact there. We'll have to check with him after the race.
Yeah, that's unfortunate for Josh. He's quite competitive, as you well know, being a teammate of ours, and having to have gone through that stop and potentially another one as the rain comes is going to be a big hindrance for his for the points in his season.
Yeah, for sure. I might be able to catch up to the tail of the pack with his pace, but pretty hard to get back in, even in the top 20 probably with all the drivers tonight. Looks like we have 29 drivers, so pretty full field All right, we'll head back up, see if we can see any battles here. Looks like Rivera has closed the gap a little bit on Lindauer, but it's still hovering around half second to 1 second. Looks like we're running lap times about in the mid 145s. Riley Lanier fastest in sectors 1, 2, and 3 at a 145.637. Looks like we got some battles back here. Snyder again trying to make a move on Wassam. Close battle back here as well with Brock and King. See if we can stick on this and see if Brock can make a move. Looks like they are in turn, what is that, turn 4? Yeah. Oh, sets him up on the outside. Let's see going. This is a tough corner to go side by side on. Ooh, drag race out of corner number 5. McLaren gets ahead here with his little left-hander kink. There we go. Good move up into 16th. Wassam and Train Boy almost come together, which then sets up Snyder and Pickrell. See what happens here down the front stretch. And I'll tell you what, that last chicane is so frustrating. There's been races where I've gone through that, you know, every lap and still have not hit that once the way I want to. Really tough left-right complex, and then you know, it's still tight, gutting onto that front stretch, that right sweeping corner where if you mess up a little bit, could be deadly. Looks like Snyder's going to throw it up the inside. Train Boy, ooh, trying to hold it. It's like he, gets the curb, gets a little wide. It looks like he's going to be able to keep it through turn 3. Again, the long, sleeping right-hander. Snyder gets on the curb a little bit, but Train Boy runs wide. They're going to go side by side in this hard braking zone into turn 4. See who gets the better of it. Almost contact, still clean. Snyder pulls away. Train Boy going to try to see if he can keep it close through this next complex. Good pass there by Snyder. Looks like Willis is off again. We'll see what's happening here. That might have been an internet connection, because unless he's taking a break in the forest in a tent, something has happened. So he looks like he might have disconnected. We have another car number 5, Spool, in the pits. Looks to have some front end damage here. Maybe getting that repaired. Interesting. All right, everyone else pretty strung out. Head back to the front. See Riley Manier still running that 145.6 with his best. See what he comes across with here. 145.9. Go ahead.
We see the note coming in from Josh's internet did go out.
Okay,
so
gotcha.
That's a bummer for him.
Yeah. I wonder if there were some internet problems too. Maybe led to some contact for that first pit, or maybe he was trying to be cognizant of everybody and trying to pit here while when he had maybe some lag spikes or something, didn't want to get anybody involved. All right, looks like Rivera now closing real close to Lindauer. Going to try to make a move on the inside so you can break the latest. Not quite far enough up though. Lindauer takes the preferred line. Let's see if I can switch to a better camera view here. Here we go.
And stop and go penalty for number 5 there. I think that's Mansilla.
Spool is number 5.
Okay.
Looks like he was off. Maybe that's what he was serving there in the pits when we showed him just a little bit ago. So Rivera pulling back in line. Let me see if I can actually switch to something other than a TV camera here. Change to the bonnet. Sorry, getting a little familiar with the HUD and the changes and things like that. Try to provide some more interesting camera angles as we move forward. Lindauer goes a little deep. Rivera taking a good line through that hairpin. And we go over the curb, bumps, right-hander. This is tricky. You kind of have to be a little patient here, or else you find yourself in the dirt. Rivera had to take a little breather. No passing opportunity here, but you can set him up on exit for this left-right-hand complex, but most of the time you're just trying to get a good run out of here to see if you can pass them on the straight. So we'll see if the McLaren has enough on the Lexus. Thinking not, even with the draft. McLaren not really known for its top-end speed, and you heard Rivera had to breathe it as he got a little bit wide there and wanted to avoid the curb and the runoff area. Take a break from that a little bit. Four-way battle for 10th with Train Boy in a Porsche. Provolone, Allen, and Brock all sort of fighting for that 10th place. And it looks like we got rain in 3 minutes. Still optimum, so it hasn't come down yet. Let's see if we can jump on a some sort of cockpit view here. It looks like Provolone taking advantage of the very slow Porsche and top-end speed, getting around Train Boy, and Allen's going to look to see if he can take advantage of Train Boy's lack of momentum coming off that complex. Dives it down the inside. Oh, man. Oh, and we have somebody off. Who's that? Come on. Don't fail me now. I'm going to have to go back to that, sorry. Oh, Allen. Oh, it was Jeff Allen. Back to the pits, too. Oh, man, unfortunate. All right, let's hop back onto this battle here for second place. Head to the... we'll try this camera here. We're going to have Rivera try to take another stab at Lindauer on the front straightaway. See now if he can do it without lifting. Looks like definitely understeering a little bit, but better than last time. We'll see now if we can... he has enough oomph to get to the side of Lindauer, but it does not look like it. He might have to try to pass him with pit strategy because, oh, and here comes the rain. Little sprinkles. I don't know, Eric, how is it out there with the rain? Did it just start for you?
Yeah, it just started as you said it. You know, still dry, but I'm sure people are going to be hopping in pretty quickly here. As someone who has a damaged car, I'm all for the rain, so I'm going to go in and get a little bit of damage repair. Hopefully get my car a little bit more even with these guys as I'm start struggling to that last chicane as you mentioned earlier.
Yeah, and we'll see what happens with 1.8. If it changes, usually as soon as the rain started in pre 1.8, it was automatic. You're hitting the pits, but it looks like, oh man, especially with it clearing up in 10 minutes, you may have some drivers trying to eke out some wet conditions. Track is switched to greasy, and maybe they'll try to stay on the slicks here and fight through the rain. But it looks like light rain, heavy rain in 3 minutes, back to no rain. So this will definitely throw a loop for some of the drivers. We'll see if Riley Minier pulls into the pits here, and we'll see what times they're running now that it started raining sort of right at the beginning of this lap. So we'll stay with Riley just for a minute as he goes through the final complex here at Barcelona. Taking a nice wide entry through this. Ooh, got the curb a little bit. You kind of want to avoid the curbs as much as possible. You can get on that yellow one a little bit without getting a track cut. He's staying out. And let's see, his fastest time was a 1:45.6, usually running in the low 1:45s. And he ran a 1:48, so looking like at least 2.5 seconds slower now that it's raining. And we'll see if anybody, it looks like nobody yet has taken the pit to change tires.
You know, Riley's a good one to watch for tire strategy. I've rarely seen him get it wrong, so he's got a pretty good sensibility on what needs to happen to his car in varying conditions.
Gotcha. I know he bested me a few times with pit strategy, so yeah, definitely a good one to watch. We'll keep an eye on him. Looks like he might have invalidated. Going a little bit wide there, but we'll go back to, let's see, got two battles on track right now. Oh, we'll go back to Quid here. Trying to make an inside move on number 33, who's Pickrell. See what happens. Too wide through here again. Pretty hairy. Not in the rain, so in the rain, different story, but it looks like he had enough oomph to pass the Porsche. Again, Porsche not very good on its top end. Oh, you see him sliding around. Oh, he goes off track over the rumble strips. Let's see how he's going to rejoin here. Is he going to do a Verstappen rejoin? No. Tucks him behind Pickrell. And we'll see if he's able to catch back up, see what he can do. We got 15 minutes left. Car off track number 500. That is Otto. Looks like he has come into the pits as well. We'll try to find a good battle here. We got Train Boy 2005 looking to catch back up to King. King goes a little bit wide on the exit there. Train Boy trying to see if he can dive it. Oh, you see the spray off the tires. They've got to be slipping and sliding around. Looks like Riley Manier's last lap. I don't even know how to look at last laps on this thing yet. He looks to be in the 150s. He ran a 151 that lap. So, man, things are slowing down, but I think the drivers realize that it's going to stop raining here before the end of the race, and they're just going to try to stick it out on these dry tires. All right, Train Boy, unless King makes a mistake here, I don't think Train Boy is going to have enough oomph in that Porsche to get by him on the front straightaway. Let's just see how much time he loses. I know Porsche had several, let me get the terminology right here, nerves. I don't know if Barcelona was part of that, but a lot of ballast added to the Porsche in the 1.8 update. So, gets in real deep, locks up a little bit, loses some time to King, and you hear him on that throttle have to be really gentle. Normally this is relatively flat. You lift a little bit and get back on it, but you can hear the tires struggling for grip. You see the Bentley ahead sort of fishtailing a little bit. It's definitely treacherous out there, and it looks like they're going to have to endure for this at least another 3 to 5 minutes. Train Boy trying to... with the weather, definitely stay out. I mean, it's one of those where you're going to lose changing tires, 30 seconds stationary. You're probably going to lose 40, 45 seconds. And, even if you lose 10 seconds a lap, that's going to take 4 or 5 laps. And then you're probably going to have to... Oh, Train Boy gets a good run out of that complex. Goes around the outside, see if he can clear him. He does. What a good move by Train Boy on the outside there. Pulls ahead of King. Yeah, I probably would have stuck it out. If it was raining for maybe 20 minutes or to the end of the race, it probably makes sense to pit. Usually the forecast in ACC is pretty good, though, where, it doesn't really throw any curveballs. As long as it says it's going to rain, it's going to rain. It'd be nice if they changed that up. Maybe they did in 1.8. We just don't know it yet. But, yeah, definitely staying out's the right call here. I didn't see anybody pit. Train Boy goes wide. Going to have to take the rumble strips around, merge back in kind of clean here, and we'll see. Looks like King is far enough behind where he's not going to get a run on Train Boy here. Head back up to the battle between car off. Wassam just going off track, fighting with Free. That is in corner number 1 and 2. Does this replay work here? Let's see what happens. I probably shouldn't have done the replay because I don't know how to get out of the replay.
Yeah, a replay is going to be a tough thing to manage, so sticking to the stream is probably going to be easier for you.
Okay, yep, looks like he just throws it in there a little too rough and gets a little loose and runs into the dirt. No contact. Keeps the car clean. How do I get out of the instant replay? Do I just go back live? Do I just click on somebody?
You should be able to quit it.
Huh. Like using the race control app. Wait, I think I might have gone live here. Just clicking back on somebody. I think we're okay. All right. You got 10 minutes left in the race. Manier still out front with a hefty 8.8 second lead. Let's see what lap times he's running here now that it's fully wet conditions.
Yeah,
158, so 15 seconds. If it looks like it's going to dry up here any second. But yeah, with you would need 2 pit stops. I don't think you can run the wets. If it dries out as much as it looks like it's going to dry, those wets will get torn up in 2 laps. You have to pit anyway, so. All right. See what we got going on. Any close battles here? Ooh.
And Provolone getting a little bit overly ambitious on his braking point in the wet. Able to maintain, not completely spinning it out, but as a back marker, I get to see some of this action here.
Here, we'll put you on. Yeah, I'm definitely still like in the replay mode for race control. So I have to figure out a way out of that here. So we're going to be a little bit delayed, but we're seeing you now. Ooh, completely. Oh, that's Eric Miller. Sorry, completely sideways in the Flying Lizard Motorsport car. Let's see if we'll give you some screen time here, Eric. Let's see. There you go. No mistakes here.
Yeah, no pressure.
No pressure at all.
Especially to this little complex here, not necessarily the most favorite of the Porsches.
No, how's the curbs? Do you have to avoid the curbs with it being wet?
I have been. Yeah, well, I have been. But you know, on exit. Oh no, I'm talking.
All right, focus on driving. Focus on driving.
It seems on exit it's not too bad, but have been trying to avoid it for the most part.
Gotcha. All right. Here we go. Looks like pretty close battle here for fourth. Let's see. That would be, oh geez, third, fourth, fifth. Where are we at here? Looks like the field relatively spread out. You got some lap cars now coming into play for the leaders. They've updated in 1.8. You have now a triangle. At least I didn't realize that if it was existing before the patch. But you'll see Riley Minier with the triangle showing that he is the leader. And then the current car we're watching is highlighted in red.
Yeah, that's definitely an update. I think it's a great idea. I wish they had a bunch more practical things like that they would implement, but that's a great start.
Yeah, and then I think they added the purple highlight lap as well for fastest lap. So you can see that in-game now, and on the broadcast overlay, you see Riley Minier with the purple number 1. That means he currently holds the fastest lap of the race. And I believe, too, they negated if you go off track, and whether you get a warning or not, you're no longer eligible for fastest lap anymore. So I think they implemented that in the last patch as well.
Well, that makes sense.
Side by side here for, let's see, that's Burkhoff and McKessie and Lassie behind them, all fighting for fourth. Looks like the track has switched back to damp. No more, you don't really see a spray anymore. Lap time should start coming down. Looks like Manier's last time was a 156.9, so definitely drying out here for the last 5 minutes. How are those tire pressures treating you? You back in the, or tire temps, you back in the green, or are you still?
No,
still
we're
in
at
the,
light blue now.
Light blue,
from
okay.
The dark blue. So coming back
Progress.
up for sure, but not quite there yet.
Gotcha.
We're gonna blow through this corner.
Oh, definitely looks like almost some contact here going in. That looks like turn 1 between Cass Lassie, maybe Free and McKessie. Of course, the minute I switch off that battle, that happens. All pointed in the right direction going around turn number 4. Or 3, sorry, heading to turn number 4. All single file now. So we got 5 minutes left, damp conditions. Sun looks to be poking back out through a little bit. And it looks like just 2 battles on track right now. These 3. Ooh. Burkhoff off. Looks like he might have, where's he at now? That hard braking zone. Looks like maybe got in there a little too deep. Maybe got some help. Gets it righted. Back on track now. definitely losing some positions down to 11th. He was in 4th, so very unfortunate for Burkhoff.
Do have an interesting battle up here in 12 and 13 between Train Boy and Eric Miller, so put some eyes on that one.
Sure. Let's see. Yeah, Train Boy in the kind of the golf Porsche colors. Eric Miller ahead, also in a Porsche, and Oak behind in the McLaren. Oh, looks like Miller goes a real wide. Train Boy squeezes him, so he couldn't get back on track a little bit there. Definitely got a little too hot there for Miller, and Miller will see if he can come back on. Car off. That looks like Burkhoff again off track there. So not a good lap for Burkhoff. Definitely struggling.
Not very characteristic of him.
Sorry?
That's not very characteristic of him. Burkhoff's very
Usually
very
he's pretty
driver,
rock solid, yeah.
Yeah.
And looks like rain in the forecast, but we're not going to get to it. So drivers probably a little sigh of relief there, knowing that they're not going to go through another wet, dry cycle. I think that was one of the other changes in 1.8. The weather variability got kicked up a little bit. So it's sort of using the same values when you're setting up the server is my understanding that the weather can change a little bit more frequent. You'll see more, dry to wet changes. And definitely seeing that here in the first 30-minute race at Barcelona. We got 2.5 minutes left. Oh, go ahead.
We're getting, I'd say, getting pretty close to dry conditions now. Braking points are getting later and later. So we are well in the dry conditions. I think it was probably, damp now or green?
It looks like as Free tries to make a move on the outside of McKessie, man, they're nose to tail here, going through turn number, let's see, that would be 10, 11, 12 right now. Yeah, it looks like it is damp conditions, yeah. Oh, Lexus trying to make a move up the inside. That's Cass Lassie. Oh, gets the curb and spins it. Oh, no. Oh, that curb is so treacherous in the dry, and in the damp and wet, it's even worse. He gets it straightened out, but now he has Snyder on his tail with Brock close behind. See if they can make anything happen going into turn 1. Pretty orderly. Everyone hits their braking spots. You can see they're pretty clean. And now you can see the dry line forming on the track. Again, a little change in 1.8. The dry line matters, so drivers that started to hunt that dry line out, even if it's not the preferred line, when it's completely dry, definitely helps with traction now in 1.8. And now it looks like the track mostly dry. Again, you kind of see the little light gray, certain camera angles where it's really dry, and then the darker patches is still where it's a little bit wet. The track has switched over to greasy now for the final 40 seconds. Riley Manier with a almost 14-second lead over Rivera and Lindauer. And between Rivera and Lindauer, 7 seconds now. So all drivers running in the top 4 or 5 in the 154s now. So still has not come down to pre-rain pace. So you could really see the dry line through that final complex. We'll see, looks like Rivera coming up on a lap car. Lap car moves to the inside. Should be letting Rivera go on the outside here. Down into turn 1. And this will be the final lap of this 30-minute sprint. See if we see any other battles here. Free and McKessie. Wassam and Provolone pretty close together. We'll see if the Lexus of Provolone can gain a little bit here on the Ferrari. Both have pretty good top-end speed, but it looks like Wassam might have some damage on the front, so you have Provolone diving down the inside. Can he clear him before he enters turn 1? Looks like it. Yes, he does. Can he keep it tidy through turn 1? Really here, all you have to do, you can kind of park it a little bit on the inside if you get in a little bit deep, because the other car really can't get around you. Seems like even though he got a little wide on exit, was able to keep that position by doing that. That looks to be lengthening out a little bit, and we go back to Train Boy and Eric Miller, both in the Porsches. Looks like they are coming through turn 4. And this might be the battle to watch.
Yeah, that looks really excitingly close from back here.
Yeah, they've been pretty much nose to tail this entire race through the wet conditions. Again, going dry, wet, dry. Meneer coming across the line with a 150, so definitely drying out. Rivera now on the front straightaway. Let's see, he comes across a 151. And Lindauer is going to be able to hold third, going a little bit wide there in the final corner. So good top 3. McKessie coming around with Free close. I don't think Free's going to be able to get him here on the drag race for 4th and 5th. Snyder, Kaslassi, and Brock. I think they'll finish in that order. And we have, oh yeah, Wassa making a move on Provolone. And he's going to be able to take it going through that last complex. Very nice. Eric Miller in Train Boy. Oh, just not enough. So Provolone 10th, Train Boy 11th, Miller 12th, it looks like. And everybody else relatively single file now. Let's see if I can pull up the, let's see, times here. This should show me finishing order here. So Meneer, Rivera, and Lindauer taking the podium for race number 1. Again, this was a 30-minute sprint. I believe we'll have qualifying again, if I'm not mistaken. And
Correct.
then a 60-minute race. So double the race, and I think there's a mandatory pit stop as well. Is that correct, Eric? Correct me there.
Yep, there is.
It's amazing how much I forget when I'm not driving. It just feels different.
It's a completely different world,
Completely different.
mindset, you know. So, it's difficult to adjust, especially because all you're thinking about, you know, in driving is your mind just locks into this different mode. It's just like when my wife asked me to go get the diapers and they're right in front of my face, but I can't see them. You know, it's one of those things.
Thought that was on purpose, so that next time she doesn't ask you to get the diapers. And
I wish I could do that, but no, she'd probably beat me up.
all right, so that ends the ends race number 1. I'm going to take a quick little break here, and we'll be back for qualifying. I'm going to try to get some things sorted out on the broadcasting side, and hang tight. We will be right back.
Yeah, I'll try to bring Riley Meneer in here while
sure.
you're gone.
Okay, I'm going to switch to, I'm just going to keep it here and mute. Be right back, fellas. Don't go anywhere.
Mr. of race 1, how was that?
Tricky. I think, in a word. That was, I think if I would have gone in for wets, it would have been a really bad idea. So I just kind of stayed out and kind of monitored what everyone else was doing behind me. And, you know, happy to finish where I did. And, 15-second lead ain't bad either.
Yeah, no, we were saying, as I mentioned earlier in the stream, I think you are one of those drivers to watch for tire choice. You rarely get it wrong, and I think you picked correctly this time, obviously, again. So, how do you like the 1.8 change? This is the first race we've had with the 1.8 race.
I don't know. Obviously, you're faster in the older version of the game, just because this is a whole new prospect. But what's weird and kind of tough for us is it happened right in the middle of our season, and it put us the tires were faster, so it literally just put us on the track with the worst possible tire wear, and so that's been kind of stressful. But other than that, I feel a little more comfortable now that I've raced on a couple different tracks. I tested on Silverstone, and I like it. It feels good.
Hey Riley, question for you. Did you notice any difference between the wet and dry lines with this recent update?
Yeah, I could definitely tell when I got offline. It hurt you drastically. It definitely felt that when you were on the dry line, you could kind of hold it, but you just had to be a little careful. And then as soon as you slightly got offline, it felt like the car was gonna oversteer you into a wall. It was tricky.
Did you know that going in, or did you kind of find that out as the conditions got worse?
Free practice, we were kind of allowed to experiment. We had a few changing conditions during free practice, so I kind of was able to figure that out at that time. But I guess I didn't realize how drastic it was going to be when I'm on dry tires versus the normal wet tires that we were running in free practice.
And did you ever think you were going to pit, or did you see it sort of just be a brief wet spell? And was your intention always to stay out and tough it with the dry tires?
Definitely tough it out. We were looking at it for a while, and there was a point where it looked like it was going to get really heavy, and then it calmed down and kept calming down, and we were like, okay. And I kept watching to see if anyone else was going in, and no one did, so I just kept running.
Gotcha. Well, awesome. Congratulations on the win for this race. Anything, any setup changes or anything like that for race 2, or you think you got it pretty solid?
I think we're pretty dialed in, so we're going to keep at it.
Awesome. Congratulations.
Thanks,
guys.
Riley.
Good luck next run.
We have Mr. Lindauer in here. Lindauer, how was your race?
Pretty good, except for the few or so kind of scary moments.
What happened and where?
Mainly first sector. A little too greedy on the throttle. Didn't have my traction control set up all the way. Just got a little bit too much on the throttle while the track was wet. And got caught in a kind of a snake spin. Thankfully caught it, but I lost my second place because of it.
So is this your? I think you've had a second place before, right, in our league?
This season I have a second place and a third.
Okay. So that, I think we could say in the recent seasons, Lindauer is one of our most improved drivers. If I remember correctly, you were probably overall mid-lower pack, going through some hardware changes. So just where credit's due, coming in and putting in some second places, third places, and generally in the top 10. So that's awesome to see.
Yeah, my first season here, I was on controller for the majority of it, all except for the last race, and it didn't do too good.
Well, from what I heard, in all honesty, is that your competitiveness on the controller itself was impressive in its own. So
yeah, I kind of outside of the league racing, I'll do just practice days on my own, just to essentially clear my thoughts for the day. And funny enough, I on the old tire patch, I had a 42.9 around Kyalami in the Lamborghini on controller, and
I mean that's impressive.
And it's still hard to beat to this day. Even on
I am sure your continued improvement is gonna get you there sooner than later. So very excited to see that happen.
Thank you.
Anything else you want to say about the race? Your team was doing pretty well at the start, but kind of saw them slipping and sliding over the place. Something about that Lexus difficult to control in the race?
I realized way too late that, hey, 3 traction control in the wet on slick tires is not enough. But once we figured that out, I had a decent rest of the race. The other two just kind of either made minor mistakes and lost positions because of it, or got to a little bump with the other drivers. So it's kind of here nor there. We did really well. I think all 3 of us got into the top 10, which is fantastic.
That's great. That's great team performance for Southern Star. Hopefully you can match that in the second race.
Yeah, hopefully. Thank you.
All right, congrats on your third, and looking forward to seeing you race in the second race.
Can do.
So Ed, how was your streaming experience? Your first streaming experience?
It's like drinking from a fire hydrant, I'll tell you. I found out the replays just automatically jump forward after the replay is done, so that's cool. So I wasn't in a time lag that I thought I was. Learning little things here and there.
Yeah, it's tough to the replays are probably not advised during live stream because it's tough to get in and out of it. That's one of the things I say iRacing has over ACC, in that their ability to hop in and out of the replays is a lot easier in iRacing than it is in ACC.
Well, it looks like the race control has the ability to set 60-second back, 30-second back without having to go into the. It just does it. It's really strange. Cool. So I don't actually have to go into the replay. It sort of just reverts back 60 seconds, 30 seconds, whatever I want, and then once that timer expires, it jumps to live. I don't know how it does it, but maybe they added that recently. I know there have been some updates. So, yeah, just learning little ins and outs here and there as we see Lindauer dive into the pits, practice in pit entry, which I feel like a lot of drivers overlook, but there's a ton of time to be gained with pit entry and exit and nailing your pit stop here. I think they tightened it up a little bit in 1.8, where you used to be able to call it, I'll call it a PJ Hutch, since he's the one that sort of does it best from what I've seen, but hit the pit limiter and able to squeeze out a few extra miles an hour without getting a speeding penalty. But I think they've shored up some of those, let's say, enhancements in 1A, at least I've read. I haven't tried it, where that may not be possible anymore. But even without that, definitely a place like Barcelona, where it's a sort of not a tight right-hander, but it's not flat, and you can't really see where the pit lane marker is, practicing your ins and outs, and as always, nailing your pit stop right on the marker some instances gain you anywhere from 5 to 10 seconds if you hit it right over somebody that maybe slides through their stall a little bit. So definitely worth practicing in this 60-minute endurance race.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's definitely overlooked, and like you said, multiple seconds to gain, if not a 10-second advantage over someone else. And you know what? We've seen multiple races, especially between Riley Munir and Anirudh Sundar, who is one of our who's faded away a bit in our league this season because of his workload in real life, but really competitive driver, but just didn't have the pits down. Unlike Riley, who's got everything pretty much dialed in, so would often be ahead of Riley, but lose out into the pits.
Yeah, Riley's definitely one of those drivers. Him and I have raced side by side a lot this season, and he's definitely one of those that seems to have a really good approach, where he kind of knows kind of what the weather's going to do a little bit, or never off on pressures or anything like that. Sort of has done enough testing where has a good idea where the weather might go. He always seems to be prepared sort of on all facets, so definitely have to wake up pretty early to get one by on him.
Yeah, and as we have 5 seconds going into this next session, we're ready to see what Riley can do for us and for himself.
Yeah, so cars pulling in here. Looks like there are 2 more cars on track. We'll wait for them to either finish or go off and invalidate, and we'll kick over to qualifying. So format here, is it 10 minutes? 10-minute session, if I'm not mistaken?
Yeah, it's either 10 or 8 for the second one.
Oof, 8. So I always found this league to have pretty tough when it comes to qualifying, because the session times are less. Even at 10 minutes, it's sort of doesn't give you a lot of time to get out. And if you're not one of the first few to get out, everything stacks up close to the last corner, especially here at Barcelona, where you're probably not crossing the line if you're mid to backpack until if there's 10 minutes to start. You're probably crossing the line at 7 minutes, so it doesn't leave you a lot of time. You really have to, especially with this update, tires take a few more laps to come up before they offer maximum grip, and which means that you need to you know, really have 3 laps under you before you're going to be able to set your fast time in most cases, and that only leaves you with just a with maybe 1 or 2 opportunities for a fast lap. So we'll see who gets out here first. Switch to the track map. We'll see. Looks like number 2, Lindauer, gets out first, followed by Bravo. Sorry, I only know last names here for most of the drivers,
That's all right.
and I'm probably.
I can help fill that in.
All right, Cass Lassie. I said that probably 10 times. Am I saying that correctly?
Yep, that's right.
All right, cool. Looks like they're the first 3, and you can see on the track map, blue means that they are on a kind of an invalid lap or an out lap, where if there is a faster car on track, they should yield. So they're kind of like blue flag eligible, let's say. And again, red is where we're at now, and you'll see as they cross the line, they turn gray, which means that they're on a hot lap. So in the car, you have to be looking, if you don't go out right away, you have to be looking at that track map and to kind of know, hey, do I need to pull over for this person? Is this person going to pull over for me? And to try to space out the your gaps here, because you don't want to get too close to people. Everybody has different qualifying paces. And so, you know, in some instances, you know, if you're behind, say, Riley or somebody like that, you may want to end up getting kind of close where you're not getting a push, but you can kind of use him as a rabbit and go off his braking points and things like that. Or if, you know, there's a little slower driver ahead, maybe leave 5-6 seconds. And the guys do a pretty good job of not jumping in line like you see in Formula One a little bit, some NADA behavior where they jump ahead and try to push the queue. Guys in this league are pretty respectful. So we see Lindauer fishtailing it a little bit through the final complex here. Let's see, that's turns 14 and 15. This sweeping right-hander is 16 onto the front stretch. And you know what? We'll try to go on board. I'll try to take a look at this lap. I wonder if I can get an actual bonnet cam. There we go. Turn 1, heavy braking point right-hander. You can use a lot of the curb in the dry. Throwing it left, you can either go all completely kill the curb, or you want to avoid it. You don't want to just hit it with the left side tires. This turn number 3 here, sweeping right-hander, really have to drive in deep and then lift just momentarily and get back on to carry a lot of speed here. Turn number 4, heavy braking zone, go down 2 gears. You have to be a little hesitant here. It's very easy to swing it out wide. Some drivers like to swing it out wide, others like to keep it tight. Turn number 5 here, left-hander downhill. You can carry a little bit more speed on exit than you think. This turn 6, not really a corner. Turn 7, stab of the brakes, and this is very, very tricky because you have a off-track here. He looks like he hit it okay. He did not invalidate. Turn 9, hard to get right. Very fast right-hander. You can use all the curb more than he did here. They get a little rest going down into turn number 10, sort of a tight, not necessarily a hairpin, but definitely more than 90 degrees. Looks like he threw it in there a little bit deep. You can really use the curbs there if you want to. Turn 11, you can run over that curb. Another tricky right-hander where you have to be patient. You hear the throttle just feathering it a little bit, waiting back on it. And again, this corner is to set up the last complex. Very difficult. Throw it out wide, bring it in tight for both these corners, and then you could be full throttle here if you hit it right all the way around to the front stretch and carry that momentum through. So looks like a pretty decent lap for Lindauer. Let's see what he gets. He did a 146.7. So good banker lap for him. We'll see who is behind here. Looks like 67 is going to be coming across Bravo. And I'll switch to... Looks like he came across a 148. Manier, let's see what he's going to have here for the first lap. Again, it takes a couple laps for the tires to come, so I'd probably expect a bunch of 46s before they jump down to the 45s, I think, where they were last time. So we'll see where Manier pans out here. And I can actually switch over to qualifying. He comes at a nice 145.3, so makes me look like an idiot and goes ahead and runs a 145. So good first lap for him. Fastest in sectors 2 and 3, where it looks like Cass Lassie has it up in sector 1 by 1/100th, and Rivera comes through just eking out Manier by 7/100ths of a second, taking fastest sectors 1 and 2, and Manier still keeps number 3 by about 3/100ths.
We don't know much about Rivera. He's a new driver to the league, and it's exciting to see Riley have yet another driver in the top end challenging him in these races.
Yeah, the name sounds familiar. I think I might have raced with him before. I don't know where though. But Rivera sounds like a very familiar name. I'd have to maybe we can pull him up and see where we've raced at if he pulls out a podium again this race. So we have right now 16 drivers to set time. There are still, so we got 23 guys in the server still. So we still have 8 drivers yet to set a time. And looking at the deltas here, looks like Rivera is on a very quick lap, already 4/10 up from his previous, which would get him the ability to jump even further and extend that gap over Riley Menier. It definitely seems like the McLaren, I have to go back and look at the BOP adjustments, but McLaren, not taking anything away from Rivera, he seems very, very quick. But the McLaren seemed to get a decent amount of buffs with this BOP update. I see a lot of negative ballast applied to it, and it was a pretty good car to begin with, for sure. Certainly it's certain tracks like Silverstone, but now it seems like they're able to eke out a little bit more performance there, and we'll see what he comes across. 144.9, so Menier was able to jump ahead just momentarily. Rivera takes it back. Fastest in sectors 1 and 2, and Riley definitely seems to be a little bit quicker in that Porsche. Probably the maybe that last complex. I know usually the Porsche is killer through there, and he's able to take about 2/10 up. So pretty close.
Riley's actually in the Ferrari.
Oh, I'm sorry. Ferrari, thank you. Ferrari's pretty agile too. I'll see if I can cover that mistake a little bit.
It is no slouch, that's for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Good top or good mid-end speed too. I remember racing him at Paul Ricard, and if he was 8/10 behind me on the straightaway, he was passing me on that long straight. The Porsche is a sit and duck. I don't know why I thought he was in the Porsche. But yeah, thank you for that correction there. So 1.5 tenths separating the top two, and looks like Menier pit, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, he pit, come back out. It does not look like Rivera's going to have time, so he'll probably stay out here. He has some traffic to contend with too. Looks like they're all on flying laps, so we'll have to see how he handles this. Probably not going to. They're not going to yield. They don't have to yield, so I'd expect him to sort of back off and build a gap. And looks like he'll maybe have 2 more attempts for setting a faster lap. Let's see what he does. Still pretty tight to the McLaren in front. He's going to throw it in there. If he was going to back off, he would have backed off already. So I think he's going to try to work his way through this traffic as best as he can. See how that works out. Hey, what's up, Carbon? How you doing, bud? Sorry, I'm learning the ins and outs here. So, like, I actually didn't have Twitch chat up. So I'm sorry if anyone said anything that first race. I have it up now. So making sure everyone can see and hear everything okay. Let me know if anything sounds awry. We just set this up about 20 minutes before the race. So definitely, if anything's wrong, let me know. So let's see here what we got. Menier's still on his outlap, or it looks like he has invalidated. Oh, just crossing over. So this will be his final flying lap. He won't have enough time to make it around. We'll stay on board and see how he does. We'll go on a bonnet cam. See how he takes this complex compared to Lindauer, who we looked at in the beginning. Takes more curb there, and he avoids that inside curb. Throws it a little wide. Hear him driving a little bit deeper. Let it swing out. Feather the throttle, making sure you don't go too wide on exit where you get in the green. You get off track. Good job in the braking zone. I always found, at least in the Porsche, this was tricky, where you have to time the release of the brake right, or else the car got really loose. I'm curious if it's the same in the Ferrari or not. And he takes a wide entry into this corner to try to get a good exit. Looks like he did accomplish that. Definitely 2 different ways through that corner. See how much curb he takes here on the inside. Nope, avoiding it completely, but had to lift so that he didn't get an off track. It looks like he is almost 3/10 up, so this will be very close if he's able to maintain the similar pace through this section 3 here coming up. This is the end of section 2, sector 2. Now he's into sector 3. Easy to drive it in too deep on this braking zone. Sounds like he maybe got in a little soft, but the delta's still good. So no pressure on Menier, but he's able to keep this up. He should leapfrog Rivera by about 2/10. And just in case you don't know, if you're on a flying lap as it goes to 0, you can continue that flying lap through the end of the race. So or end of the qualifying session, just because it reads 0 does not mean you're done. Looks like, oh, he lost some time. This will be really, really tight. Yep, there he goes, leapfrogs him, and by 4/100ths. Very, 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 very close. He was probably sweating there, exiting that corner. He lost about 2/10, but very nice job to maintain it and come off on pole as long as nobody else. Looks like Rivera. Ooh, he still has it. He's on his flying lap, just barely positive on the delta. And very tricky here. Easy to either go in too hard or too light. And he's even on his delta. I feel like he can really gain on Riley there. Definitely gains on entry, but loses on exit, back down to about equal. We need the F1 style Delta trackers. What do you guys think? But still even. It's all about how he's going to take this last complex here. Is he going to be able to nail it, or does he get a little bit of curve? Hits that well. Oh, gets a little too much curve. Looks like he lost it. That curve hit might have done him in. Let's see how accurate this race control is. Comes across, does not improve his time, so he will be starting second. Man, that was close. Little half-tenth here, half-tenth there. Very good qualifying session. So we have Munir on pole with Rivera second, Burkhoff third. Looks like Snyder fourth, Quid fifth, Provolone sixth, Caslassi seventh, Lindauer eighth. I should probably pull up the times instead of there. Oh, it's raining again. Look at that. All right, what do we got here? Let's see if times will show. There we go. This should be the starting order. So where did I leave off at? Lindauer 8th, Wassam 9th, McKessie 10th, Brock. Eric, I don't even know how to say your last name. I'm not even going to try to pronounce it.
I don't either, so.
Okay. Eric?
But, most importantly, in 12th place.
In 12th. There we go. Almost breaking into that top 10. Let's see. Yeah, let's see if I can see the qualifying times here. Man, it's weird navigating these GUIs not in the car. All right, I'll get back to that, but let's see. We got Free in 13th, King, Green, Miller, Pickrell, Rohr, Bravo, and Orozco rounding out the top 20. Reed, Aldred, Otto, and Chronotis. Am I saying that right? Leading up the tail of the field. So it looks like I had a little bit of driver attrition. I think we started with 29. We're at 23. Maybe some people don't like the wet weather, but this will be interesting. Now it is wet and increasing wet, but that's only 10 minutes out. So I know, correct me if I'm wrong, Eric, you guys run 2x multiplier, is that right?
3x.
On time? 3x on time, okay. So
Yeah.
definitely, I always like that. I like the changing conditions. Throws a bit more strategy into it, right? You never know what's really going to come. So what happens is the forecast there in the top right, you can see the clock means that is the current condition. So you'll see rain. There'll be multiple lines if it's heavy rain. So light rain is sort of what you're seeing now. Heavy rain or medium rain is two rows of lines, slashes, and then heavy rain is 3. And then there's thunderstorm, which we rarely see because it's easy to set the server up that way, but it's pretty treacherous. So you rarely see that. And then you'll see like dry conditions or sunny, right? And then you'll have your forecast for 3 minutes out, 10 minutes out, and then the current track conditions. So this is wet. You have wet, damp, greasy, fast, and optimal, I think, are the or optimum are the track conditions. So you'll see, if you're not familiar with it, the track state is how rubbered in the track is. So optimum, you'll be able to turn your fastest times. Greasy means that it really is transitioning from a wet to dry condition. And then you have fast, which means that the track is rubbering in, but it's not. It's not completely rubbered in. So your times are usually anywhere from a half second to a second slower. But there's various stages of fast. So you can have like low fast and high fast. There's no official terminology for it, but just because it says fast, it's not a fixed track state. It improves all the way to optimal. So you see the cars starting to jump off the jacks. 20 seconds before session start time, you can hear the engines firing up and cars dropping off the jacks. There used to be where you really waited to the last second to drop to keep the tires temps in. In 1.8, they changed that a little bit from what I read in the release notes, where it's less critical. There's less temperature loss in the tires after you hit drive before you start rolling.
Yeah, and we see that in the race as well, how the transition of the tire pressures and temperatures is a little more gradual, so it takes a little bit more time for you to put heat into it or lose the heat that are in the tires.
Yep, and you'll see a different strategies too to warm up the tires. You see some drivers weaving, you see some drivers nailing the throttle and getting on the brakes heavy, and you see some drivers riding the brakes. So you have all different strategies here to try to get temperature into the brakes, which then get temperatures into the tires. You see Riley weaving a little bit here. Everybody has their own theory on what works best. But you'll see them all, even in the wet conditions, trying to get those tires up to temperature, trying to get them green on the overlay hub when they're in car, to try to get the most out of their tires as early as they can and make some moves in the beginning.
Yeah, and actually haven't finished watching the F1 race, but just been through it long enough to see 3 starts earlier today, so tire temperatures clearly critical. Not gonna say who ended up ahead or
no
behind
spoilers
for the others who haven't seen it, but yeah, tire temperatures absolutely critical at the start.
You know, with this app, can I throw some red flags in here? We'll have three red flags and restarts, and yeah, we'll throw a standing start in here. That'll be fun. We'll just mix it up.
Yeah, just for fun, right? Well, I guess just to comment on one of the things you had mentioned earlier, that's one of the reasons that I like our shorter qualifying races, that you really don't get much of a chance. So it does throw in some curveballs, it gets pretty exciting, but on the other side, we try to be conscious of our North American drivers, trying to accommodate for East Coast to West Coast, and given that it's a Sunday and that we race on Thursdays as well, we're trying to ensure that our event night is as efficient as possible, and hence the shorter qualifier, allowing people to go to bed and go to work the next day. You know, adult type things, which I don't know if everyone does or not.
Work? What's that? I just race all day. All right, coming through. Pull my track map back up. So if what I have to do if I ever do this again, start low in the. I know Mex does a good job of knowing the corner names and things like that. I can't pronounce them, so I'm not even gonna try. But maybe if there's a next time. But we're coming through turn number. That would be turn number 12. The cars are going to start double filing up here, getting in their game allotted positions. And with it being wet now, this will definitely be interesting going into turn 1. I will do my best to keep up with all the action. We'll see what happens. But 1 hour, 1 mandatory pit stop. Tires mandatory as well, Eric? Refresh my memory.
No.
All right, so no mandatory. You could get on the jacks and drop right off, right?
Correct.
Okay, gotcha. So we'll have different strategies playing out. Should make for a very interesting event. Green, green, green. Looks like a good start by Riley Manier. Able to pull a little bit of a gap, make his life a little bit easier. Burkhoff coming down the inside, too wide going into turn 1 next to Rivera. And looks like, who's that? Quid. Maybe looking to go 3 wide, but decides better of it. Oh, some car is off. Looks like that is... Oh, I don't know who that is. A Provolone. Provolone off track here. Man, that was... looks like he made it locked up. Maybe too much rear brake bias. But it doesn't look like they collect anybody else. After that, relatively clean. Oh, this corner is going to be tricky in the rain. Jockeying for position here. All looking pretty decent. Oh, nope, you got some contact. Oh, this is gonna not end well. Lots of contact. Oh, this is a red flag condition. If you're back there, Eric, take it slow.
Well, fortunately, I'm in the front for once. So.
Oh, there you go. A lot of I mean, that's got to be at least 10 drivers involved in that.
Yeah, I was
Lots
right
of
behind
damage.
that when it happened, so pretty
Lots of damage.
nervous.
Oh, yeah. Jump back up to the front here. We'll see who's involved here in a minute. But a decent chunk, at least a third of the field involved in that. And lots of close gaps here. Rivera second away from Meneer. Burkhoff's holding third place, and Quinn and McLaren in fourth. All single file now. And it's so hard going from a dry track to a wet track. The formation lap really doesn't give you enough information on how much you can push it. It's just like there's different levels of fast, there's different levels of wet. It could be flooded track, it could be just, you know, a little more than damp, or it can be anywhere in between, so it makes it very tough. Lindauer now looking to see if he can make a move on the outside. Lexus on Lexus. Looks like he does. Past Kaz Lassie. Are they teammates? Southern Star. Both Southern Star. Okay, gotcha. A little bit of teammate camaraderie there. Not fighting too hard for the position. Let's see here. We got Reed Aldred in the Lamborghini trying to make a move up the inside of Rohrer in the McLaren. McLaren. Is he going to be able to make it stick? 111 trying to pull a crossover, not able to get it done. Reed Aldred, nice move up into 12th position. Looks like McKessie now pulling up to the back bumper of Pickerel. And even more so now in the wet, trying to pick your spots. I mean, around the outside, not going to happen in most of these corners, so you're really trying to set yourself up to get a good exit. See if you can get a run on one of the short straights. Oh, we got a car off. Looks like Lindauer is off. He's going to be slow here coming into this complex. See if Pickerel can take advantage of it while trying to fend off McKessie. See if his speed is still compromised down this long straight. Does not look like it. Again, Porsche things with Pickerel. This should lead to a pretty decent battle, though, after they get through Sector 3. We'll stay on this here. There's a few close battles. I feel like a tennis match going back between Race App and the stream itself. Gonna have some neck pain tomorrow.
I apologize for my silence.
Oh, you're good.
Wet conditions and
You focus.
in a decent position in the race is tough to talk over.
Oh, for sure.
Sitting here in 10th place, got Was ahead of me, really consistent, really good driver, and Reggie King behind also has shown really good pace in the last couple of seasons. So
looks like battle here going into turn 1, going back to McKessie, Wassam, Pickerel. And oh, looks like Pickerel got a little loose. McKessie gonna try to take advantage of it. Oh, real close, almost into the back bumper. This would be really good to do a wing camera, wouldn't it? Look at that. Getting better here. McKessie trying around the outside, very difficult, but if you keep it in, nope. Kind of be set up for the inside of the next corner, not able to get it done. Gonna try to regroup here. Definitely not this is not a corner you want to throw it up the inside. So be patient, see if you can get them in the next sector.
that off-cambered blind apex is really tough to get right.
Very tough. Sounds like you got a moment there.
A little bit.
So Barkov now 2/10 behind Rivera. Meneer pulling out a 2.5 second gap in the lead. Seems to be repeating what he did in race 1. So here we'll get to see Mercedes versus McLaren power here on the front straightaway. See who can get the better exit off the corner if no one makes a mistake in this next complex, and see who has the horsepower down the front straightaway. Looks like he had to feather it. The McLaren powers through. I don't even know if Rivera got off the throttle there. This is going to be a big gap to make up. I don't think he's going to be able to do it before he gets into turn 1. Maintaining about a half-second gap here. Looks like there is some fighting back in 17th and 18th with Provolone and Orasco. Orasco hounding the back bumper of Provolone, who had a mistake braking into turn 1 on the first lap. My memory serves me right. See if he's able to keep it full throttle round. Yep, but they stretch out. And looks like that'll be fought another time. Lap times here looking like, for comparison, with wet in the first race when they were on dry slicks, they were running 158. So now we're looking at a wet track on wets, and looks like they're running about 153 for Riley Minier, 154 for most of the rest of the top 5. So, Eric, going back to your thing in the first race, that's about a 5-second delta, and so definitely was the right call to stay out. Definitely not enough time to make up, 5 seconds a lap. You'd have to run, what, at least 8 laps, and just not enough time in race 1. We'll see what happens here with the weather in race 2. So far, still looking like it's going to stay wet, actually increasing wet. So we'll see if any of the car setups that may be on edge now, once getting even wetter, maybe even harder to control. And we see Burkhoff now still on the back bumper of Rivera. See if he's able to get through here well. Definitely better than last time, still needing to lift. And much closer than McLaren, but McLaren still had a good exit. See if that Mercedes power is able to close that gap anymore. Nope, lets off. And you can see the rear end of that McLaren just struggling for grip. Good throttle control by Burkhoff. Patient. Oh man, a lot of yaw in that McLaren. Oh, you can see that. I think that's one of the big differences in the tire model. They flex a lot more, and so you'll see cars sort of hanging out a little bit more than you would normally, and able to control it. It seems like the tire is a little bit more malleable, and although there's not as much grip as there used to be and the operating window is smaller, it looks like you're able to kind of control it a little better once it's out of the operating window, albeit being a little bit slower. Oh, that's always a tough corner. Go ahead.
Looks like we see McKeezy either make a mistake or have contact, dropping down to 10th place.
Thank you for that. Right, looks like in front of you.
Hence the
hence the update.
Commentary.
I don't know, you could be watching the TV screens around, seeing what's happening.
Yes, because my limited brain capacity can do that.
So 2 close battles here. We have Lindauer and Keselowski and Burkhoff and Rivera. So we'll see which one we're going to pick here. We'll go back to Burkhoff and we'll switch back after the straightaway. So you kind of run. Burkhoff is able to get off of this corner, listen to the throttle. Seems like he has to feather it a little bit more than the McLaren does. But gets a good run. McLaren getting a little bit loose off that corner, a little oversteery. Burkhoff definitely going to have a run. We'll have to see if he's going to be brave enough to take it. Pulls down the inside. Rivera does not defend. And then looks like he backs off. So we'll see. I haven't done the Helicam before. Let's see how good this is. Oh, this is cool. Starting to see sort of not a dry line, but a less wet line. Man, Rivera is really oversteery. That Mercedes seems to be much better planted. Danny, if you're still on here, how you drove that McLaren, I think, right? Or the Mercedes. How is the Mercedes in the wet? Have you done it post 1.8 or how is it compared to the other cars in your opinion? And does Danny not run it recently? Gotcha. Was it pretty good before in the wet? See these battles kind of lengthen out a little bit. I like this race app where it gives you orange. Tells you where the close battles are. All right, we'll go back to Lindauer and Quid now, who's up into 4th. Lindauer chasing down Quid. Looks like last laps. What do we got here? 155 for Quid, 154 for Lindauer. So Lindauer seemed to have a little bit of pace. I gotcha. So it was more, you were just quick in it because you're just quick, huh? Let's see what happens here with Lindauer and Quid. So we'll see if Quid has the same struggle on corner exit as Rivera did, if it's a McLaren thing or not. Well, Lexus, pretty good pull here. We'll switch back to the Helicam. See if Lindauer's, oh, he does. He's going to be able to clear him. Does Quid try to send it? No. Drives in, slots in behind. 48 minutes left, so much longer race. Much smart move there to kind of file back in. He knew that Lindauer was a little bit quicker, and maybe he can kind of watch Lindauer, see the lines they're running, and possibly look to learn something. And Rivera, after being passed by Burkhoff, hanging pretty tight. Oh, we had a change of position here, sorry. It looks like McKessie has passed King for 9th position. I'm going to do it. I'm going to go back and see what happens here. Let's see if this works. I'm going to go back in the replay. So 60 seconds. I don't know if that's going to be long enough or not. We'll see how McKessie gets by. If I pick a camera angle. There we go. So it gets a good run down that front straight. See what happens here with King. Sometimes it's easy to get intimidated going into this corner where you'll break a little too much. Oh, King just sends it down the inside. Or, I'm sorry, McKessie sends it down the inside. Good side-by-side battle. And, yeah, King trying to hold on there, but you're in the inside, outside, inside. So it's, if you're able to get that inside in turn 1, you definitely have the advantage in the next complex. So very nice move here. We get the replay for about 8 more seconds, and then we'll flip back live. Wish there was an end. Wish there was an end replay. All right, back live here. So what do we got? Oh, big battle here for 4th with Lindauer, Quid, and Kazlazi. Starting to brew here. About a half-second gap between each one. Last laps, what do we got? 156.1, 156.7, 155.6. So Kazlazi definitely has pace in hand. See if he can work his way up to 4th position.
Yeah, and I got Reed Aldred here behind me, getting a big toe on the straight, going on the inside. Ooh.
Looks like, oh, there we go. We got it now.
Be brave on the.
Oh, he threw it in deep. Let's see if Eric can keep it on the outside. Oh, this is going to be tough. And now he's going to be the inside here. Nice. Good car positioning. We'll see if Reed tries anything on exit.
I think I got the jump on the throttle there. Well, he could dive in on the inside here. Thought about it for a second.
Thinks twice. Dude, this is hard streaming. I'm just looking at the chat here. I don't know how you guys do it. Like, there's like 8,000 things going on.
I'm a mindless Neanderthal, so it's like they don't cross-process, I suppose. I mean, you can hear the stress in my voice, I'm sure.
See, I can't even, if I'm on team radio with people, I have to mute. Like, any noise, I just get so easily distracted. So I end up muting the team. I'm a bad teammate, I guess.
You know, basically what's happening is I'm talking out loud what I'm thinking. Like, whoa, what is he going to do? I wonder whether he's going to try and overtake me. So it's kind of like commentating is always happening in my head.
So now you're just saying it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is a minimally added process.
Hang in there. Now, we'll see the difference in speed here between the Lamborghini of Reed Aldred and Eric here.
Oh, for sure. He gets a big run in the straight.
This is
I just gotta make sure I get a really good exit off of this corner.
Yeah, Porsche very good through that section. Very good through here. And then...
a bit of a breather on the throttle.
Yeah, it looks... Oh, you're okay. Looks like Aldred got in the dirt a little bit. So you're safe this lap.
couple
Ooh.
of beads of sweat though.
Quid
But look at
making
that.
a move on the inside. Or no, a little crossover as, who was that? Lindauer goes a little bit deep. Oh, almost contact. But Quid and the McLaren pulling it out. Moving up into 5th position. Yes, 5th position. Kind of sandwiched now between the two Southern Star Motorsport Lexuses. And good battles. Let's say Eric Miller just got by. Let's see, show how that happened. Down into turn 1. Looks like Eric Miller got by. Is that Roar in the 111? He goes a little wide. Roar tries to go back on the outside, but just doesn't have it. And now McKessie made a move. Man, there's just battles everywhere. I can't click fast enough. I don't think I'm going to be able to see this one. Man. Another move here. Wassam. And Wassam going to try to get side by side, but not going to be able to do it. Oh, that was a move, I guess. Look at that. And they're still back to back with that Riley King. Or no, who was that? That was Reggie, sorry. One track going off track. That might have been a lap car that went off. All right. And we got 3 battles. We got Burkhoff and Rivera for 2nd, Quid and Kazlassi for 5th, and this one is McKessie and Wassam for 8th position. Looks like some good laps too. Field now in a lot of the field in 154s. As they're battling, looks to go back up into the 156s, but we'll do a little check-in with Riley Manier. We haven't talked about him for a little bit in the Ferrari. I think I would say that a few times, so I get that cemented. Currently running out front by 4.5 seconds over Burkhoff, who's in a close battle still with Rivera. Burkhoff got by him, if you recall, going down the front straightaway, and Rivera able to hang tight. Let's see what happens with that car. I know Rivera was sideways a lot, so a lot of yaw in that McLaren. We'll see if that improves. Kind of hard, to make any changes in this game with your pit stop. I mean, you could change tire pressures, but there's not much else you can do on the pit stop that really impacts handling like you could in NASCAR, or like you can't even do wing changes like you can in Formula One. So, or turning of the wing to change, either increase or increase or decrease downforce. So, unless his tire pressures are off, it's going to be hard once your car is sort of oversteer. Hard to correct that back, especially mid corner. If it's on entry and things like that, you can just brake bias, but mid corner when you're not in the brakes, you kind of have to live with it. Could also be set up for more of a dry setup, to where it's a little less downforce and could be slippy sliding if it goes dry, which it doesn't look like it's going to go. But if it does, you'd have an advantage later on in the race. So lots of different strategies. It looks like Reed Algid back on the back of Eric. Eric, how do you say your last name?
It's Gukasian.
Gukasian. Okay, I'm gonna try that. Gukasian. Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
All right.
But yeah, he's right on
He's
my tail
hounding
again.
you.
Couple little mistakes, not favorable, but good exit out here. But you can see
he keeps going wide. It's so hard there. Like even in the dry, you tend to understeer when you're behind a car that close. So you kind of have to be patient, and so you get a decent run off the corner, then try to use that draft. But it's very easy to understeer on that last section because it is so high speed on that right-hander, where if you mess up a little bit, you have to get off, and it kind of completely messes up your run. So a lot of times you actually see both drivers go wide on that corner because they're both trying to eke out as much as they can, because the lead driver knows that he gets off. The back driver is going to have a run, and the back driver knows that if he is able to stick, he's probably going to get a draft anyway. So you'll see both drivers sometimes go off into the dirt there.
Yeah, and Reed definitely showing his talent through the rest of the lap here to try and close up that gap on the right before the straight. So if he just corrects that last corner, he's going to take me pretty easily, I think.
Looks like we got a change of position for 16th. It looks like Provolone gets by Otto with a move down the front straightaway. All right, now we're back live. I love this replay function now. This is cool, getting the hang of it. Okay, so now let's see, we got battles. So Burkhoff's still fighting with Rivera. Man, that is such a nuisance when you just can't pull past a guy. You know, pull enough of a gap to kill the draft, and he's staying in your draft there. And, you know, it's also so frustrating as a driver behind, where you're like, man, if I just get one good run, I can pass him and I can drive away. A lot of mirror driving for the guy in front usually. That gap is maintained here. And now we have, looks like, ooh, a pass for McKessie down the inside of Pickerel going into turn one. I mean, this is the prime passing zone here at Barcelona, even in the wet. We'll see if McKessie brakes well. He does. Again, you can kind of send it in there a little bit deep to make sure you clear and then, you know, sacrifice your middle corner speed, because that guy's not going to be able to cross over. And that's exactly what McKessie does. Looks like Reed Aldred had a change for position here. Looks like he got around you, huh?
Me in the straight. It
Yeah.
wasn't even no contest. That Lamborghini had so much straight speed.
It's fast. Looks like Reed was finally able to get through that last complex well. Gets past Eric. All right, so we got 38 minutes left in race 2. Again, we have 3x from a what's that called? Time scale. So things kind of run 3 times faster than real time, let's say. And right now, still looking like wet. So as a driver, at least, you know, my view, still looking at wet tires, right? Changing tires. And you'll see a bunch of different strategies play out when it's wet conditions like this, where you can't see, you know, more than, you know, unlike real life, you can't look at the radar and see, oh, this is going to be, you know, 30 minutes of rain and then an hour of clear. You know, in an hour it's going to be clear. ACC only lets you see into this, in this case, a 10-minute window. So you'll see some drivers just say half it. I'm going to take half my fuel and then run to about 30 minutes and pit, and then I'll change whatever tires I need to. But you'll see some other drivers take a little different strategy where they may fill up full on fuel, thinking, okay, I only want to pit once. It's going to be wet. The fuel's not going to matter all that much as it does in the dry. I'm going to, you know, give myself some options, right, where I could pit later than everybody else. Say it goes dry with 10 minutes to go or 15 minutes to go. I can stay on wets this whole time. Yeah, I'm running on more fuel, a little bit slower, but that gives me the option then to come in late, maybe after everybody already pitted and went to wets, where you can come in and go to dries and maybe take one less pit stop than everybody else. So we'll see who does what from a strategy perspective. As Eric alluded to, Riley's pretty good on strategy, so we'll maybe see after the race what he ended up doing. Or maybe we can tell by what's going to happen here in the next 5 or 10 minutes. But it looks like 2 battles here, this battle, and we got McKessie, Pickerel, and Wassam fighting for 7th place. Their lap times all around 156 flat. Looks like Riley Manier is the only one right now in the 153s at a 153.7 with a best at a 153.3. Burkhoff, Rivera, Lindauer, all in the 154s, low 154s, and everybody else in the 155, 156s until you get out of the top 10. So a bunch of different pace. It's cool to see the this much information. As a driver, you really only see, you know, you're kind of looking at the relative screen to see what lap times the guy in front or behind you is running, but you really don't get to know what everybody else is running. So it's kind of cool to see the progression of lap times and who's running what and where they're at in the field. So it looks like Kaz Lassie has pretty good pace. Still 2.5 seconds behind Quid. Looks like Quid might have invalidated a little bit there, maybe over those yellow rumble strips. And it looks like Lindauer just ran a 154.2 along with Rivera, so pretty even up in the front. And again, we'll keep an eye on pit stops. Try to look for that little P. So when there's a white P that pops up next to the names in the overall, that will be that'll indicate that they're in pit road and getting serviced. And again, there is one mandatory stop. They can take it at any time. There's no pit window, and you don't have to do anything. So you have to stop, but you don't have to take fuel, and you don't have to take tires. So you know, wet tires usually can run the whole, well, in this case, hour fairly easily. So we should only be seeing changing of tires if the weather conditions change here. So again, that goes back to what strategy is being done, if they're a full fuel or just halving it. We'll figure that out here shortly.
Yeah, and you're not going to see the one marker for the pit stop because we're running a weekend format, and we just doesn't allow us, ACC doesn't allow us to run a pit stop in one race and not the other.
Gotcha.
So hence we were running it on the
So
honors
because the
system.
first race didn't have a pit stop, if you enabled mandatory pit stop, the first race would have to have a pit stop as well.
Exactly,
Gotcha.
yeah.
So kind of a gentleman's honor agreement as you see Kaz Lassie make a move on the inside. I'm sorry, that is McKessie tried to make a move on the inside of Kaz Lassie. Not someplace that you really want to go too wide here. Side by side. I feel like Rick Allen threw this right-hander here. And Kaz Lassie definitely going to be set up well for this. You can kind of push the other guy out wide a little bit, but McKessie hanging tight on the inside. Now he's set up, and very nice setup. Kaz Lassie now has to try to get a good run off the corner and use the draft. Switch down now my new favorite camera, Helicam. See what happens when we're talking about, let's see, what do we got? Bentley versus Lexus. Both got some good oomph. I think the Lexus, though, in the draft, looks to be closing the gap slightly. Is he going to try to make a move? Aggressive, kind of a deke, I could say. Down the inside, does not pull the trigger. Maybe just trying to get McKessie to look in his mirror and maybe make a mistake, which does not happen. And they single file through turn number 4. Nope, turn number 3. I always get that wrong. Now we're heading into turn 4.
We see Reed Aldred make a mistake ahead of us, losing the position. So this rainy condition is really tricky for people to get a hold of, and as you know, you can really lose it at any point in time. So concentration is of an utmost must in these conditions.
For sure. Yep. And now, as drivers, you can see again 10 minutes out, right? So, you know, as Kaz Lassie, you might be thinking, okay, I want to try to get a little. I think I can beat people in the pits, right? So maybe he'll come in soon and try to get around these guys where you maybe can't pass them on the track. Or it's going to be obviously much tougher to pass on the track. Oh, as he goes on the curb and has to get off the throttle to avoid spinning it. Good avoidance there, but he loses a position to Pickrell, who throws it down the inside into this turn number 10. Lap car yields there nicely to the lead lap drivers. And again, this is round number 9, right, Eric? For
I believe so.
Trackalicious GT3. There is one more race left. I believe in, let's see, that is in 2 weeks, December 19th, where we're heading to Spa for the finale. And that one will be similar format to this, 30-minute sprint race, 60-minute second race. So same format as this race here at Barcelona. No one pitting yet. Everybody's staying out on track. You know, I'll pull up the track map here.
Yeah, I think everyone's cautious given how the last race went, worrying about the weather temperature or the weather changes.
Yeah.
You know, worrying that it might go dry, might go wet again. So just holding off to the last minute to ensure that we don't get stuck with the wrong tire.
Yep. And it's sort of the high risk, high reward at this point. I feel like, you know, again, you don't know, probably no one's going to take tires, right, if it stays wet. So if you feel like you can dive in, maybe there's some space out back where you can get some clean air. You may be able to make up some time if you pit early, but like Eric said, you run the risk of pitting too early and then maybe needing to pit twice if it goes dry. But you know, we're halfway through now at this point. 30 minutes remaining in race 2, and still looking pretty consistently wet. So I wouldn't be surprised if someone tries to gamble here in the next couple of laps, comes in early and tries to make some track position if they can get out in clean air. Yeah, good, definitely Coasty. A lot of good battles. Let's see here. This one has been good all run. We have Snyder and Chronotis for P20 at this point. Another close battle. That is Snyder and Chronotis in a purple Ferrari for Team Adidas Parlay, which I believe is Riley's teammate, if I'm not mistaken. Correct?
Correct. Yep.
So there we go. Looks like Reed trying again behind Eric. We'll focus in on you here. Get no pressure.
That's all right. I actually enjoy, you know, a little bit of pressure, especially from drivers behind.
Burkhoff goes into the pits. Is that a scheduled stop? Let's see. It is. So he pulls into the pits, the first to pull the trigger. So he's going to drop. Let's see. He's stationary for a while. I don't quite know is he changing tires? It looks like it based on the length of this stop. Gets off the jacks. Looks like he's rolling, but not. Oh, maybe stalled it. There he goes. Leaving pit road. He's going to exit in P13. So definitely looked like he took tires there. So we'll see. I don't know. From my view, oh, looks like we had a couple mixed up too. Reed Algid getting around Eric. Front straightaway again. Yep.
Yeah.
And what else did we have here? Burkhoff just exiting. So interesting to take tires. We'll see. Maybe in version 1.8, the tires, wet tires wear a little bit more, and they may come into play. Be able to make up some time, but that is about a 30-second delta that you need to make up within 25 minutes. So quite the tall task for Burkhoff taking those fresh wets.
Yeah, aggressive strategy for him for sure. But if anyone can do it, he's one of those guys that can pull it off for sure. So we'll see how that one works out for him.
Definitely. And we get Quid and McKessie now battling. And man, battles are starting to type up. Both go over that curb. That happens a lot where like you're just kind of following the guy ahead of you. And it looks like McKessie's going to throw it in pit road. Let's see how he enters. Oh, watch out for that red wall. And you see Barcelona, it's all the way up here. So you'll see a lot of drivers. So definitely under pit road speed there. Running on the limiter now. We'll see where McKessie comes out as it relates to Burkhoff. We'll see what McKessie does from a tire perspective. Hey, he got murked. Is it easy to stall that, Danny? All right, motor off. Dropping off the jack. So definitely not tires there. Huh? Looks like, I don't know. Maybe they changed the visuals here because, nope, 44 drops off the jacks. So King not taking tires. Looks like McKessie maybe just taking fuel. I don't know if that was a full 30 seconds. So Burkhoff now going to be going down the front stretch. It's going to be close going down into turn 1. See what happens. Hellcam time. Gets past McKessie, but King stays ahead. So I'm going to guess here. It looked like, it looked like Burkhoff took tires. McKessie maybe tires, but definitely some fuel, it seems like. And then King looks to just do drop and go. So 3 different strategies right there who are now basically back to back to back. Roar now slides in as, let's see, oh, Roar goes off track here. McKessie and Burkhoff go by. And so basically you have 11th, 12th, and 13th all on different strategies. So we'll see. We'll keep an eye on this battle, see what happens. Real quick here, going up to Wassam, who's on the tail of Kazlazi. Those guys do not pit. Let's see. So Wassam in the Ferrari. Kazlazi ahead in the Lexus, and then who's behind them? I look like that might be a... I don't know who that is. That might be a lap car. A 17 car. Oh, no. No, that's not him. All right, I'll get my bearings. Bear with me here. All right. Burkhoff now being passed by the McLaren of Roar. Let's see what, go back here 15 seconds, see what happens. Looks like Burkhoff just went a little bit wide. Easy to get wide there. Ward takes the inside. And now at this point, you have two-way battle between Wassam and Kazlazi here. Again. Oof. Got a lap car. Looked to take it a little bit too deep there. Almost gets in the back of Kazlazi, but able to avoid him. As these guys continue to be nose to tail through the short back straightaway here at Barcelona. All right, Riley Minear in the pits. So let me get my mouse back. Let's see what he does. I don't think he would have stopped. I think he's usually one of the drivers that are in first. So his pit stall usually is going to be all the way up front. So keep an eye on him. Rivera stays out. Lindauer looks to stay out. So we'll see. I wonder if he ran it yep, up and down. Okay, gotcha. So he's gone. Yeah, now that I'm thinking about it, probably most of the drivers are probably, because you don't need to take fuel with the mandatory stop, are probably full fuel, and they can kind of choose where they want to pit. Now thinking about it. It is a pretty intense race. A lot of close battles. And we still got 23 minutes left. So Minear comes out in third. After a pretty good pit stop. I didn't catch the pit entry, but the pit stop and the pit exit looked pretty good. Looks like Kazlazi's in the pits as well. What I probably should do next time is take a screenshot of where they were before pits. And then see where they come out. I wonder if Race Control has that
yeah,
has
that's
that
one of the
capability.
difficulties. It's very hard to figure out how to do who's pitted and who's not, and where people are relatively
Yeah,
speaking.
at least a number of pits, you know, where you can see. I know the old Coach Dave Academy Racing Cap had that, where you could see who pitted and the number of times they pitted, and that at least gives you an indication of who's on what strategy, right?
Yeah, that'd be hugely beneficial.
Pit wall.
Not one of them available.
I've never got pit wall going. And who's Richie Dagger? Sorry, I don't.
That's Richie Geralman.
Oh, what's up, Richie?
You might know him.
Yeah, that name sounds familiar. I can't quite. I don't quite know why.
I think you guys ran into each other once. Sorry, I couldn't help it. It was too easy. It was out there. I had.
Oh, that sounds a little familiar. I think I vaguely remember that. We'll talk after, Richie. I got.
I'm sweating right now just out of the hilarity of the situation. It's hilarious. But hello, Richie. I can't see your comments, but glad to see you're on screen.
Poking the wounds. Picking the scabs. All right, so we got Burkhoff here, 13th with Provolone just behind. Definitely the closest battle on the track. Oh, they are very close. Keep an eye on this here. It looks like Burkhoff goes a little bit wide. It's so easy to do there. Provolone jumps on the inside. Now he has to make sure not to go a little bit deep, which he keeps a tidy line. Man, lots of close battles. Got King and McKessie coming back at each other, and Orozco and Snyder. Let's see, this is the closest one. They are what they are. Turn 1 and 2 right now. Here, I'll do a little replay action, see how close he was going into turn 1. A few car lengths back, but closes that gap on entry, but as usual, you close it on entry, you're probably going to lose a little bit on exit. But he does a overall, though, net gain for McKessie on King. Back alive. So, yeah, I can't tell who pit or not. I know Rivera and Lindauer have not pit. They're 1 and 2. Rivera coming in third last race. Oh, man. That McLaren's still oversteery on trail braking there. Manages to keep it facing forward, but that was close. Let's see. Let's take a look at this. This was not fun. Look how sideways that is. Oh, man. McLaren. I know the McLaren struggles in the wet a little bit if you're running the low ride heights. At least it used to. So maybe there's some aquaplaning or bottoming out with the floor that's causing some issues with that McLaren. Maybe running a little bit too low. Just my guess. I'm probably wrong. All right. So the gap. Let's see. Meneer now is 20 seconds off the leader. So pit delta. I would imagine it's probably close to 30 seconds, 25, 30 seconds. So Meneer still, as long as Rivera, Meneer doesn't make a mistake, should still come out ahead of Rivera after they pit. Yeah, 1 and 2 have not pit. Rivera, Lindauer not pit. Meneer pitted, so he's in P3, and it's hard to tell. I think Pickerel, Quid, Wassam have not pitted either. I think the first person who's pitted was King, if I'm not mistaken. So top 9 not pit, 10 has pit. And we had some different strategies as well through the race, through the pit stops. King, Splash and Go, McKessie, Fuel, maybe tires, and Burkhoff seemed to have taken tires. And it looks like Roar and Provolone were able to get ahead of Burkhoff. So Burkhoff's struggling a little bit. Yeah, Lindauer is quick, for sure.
Everybody except Lindauer realized that Lindauer is quick.
I mean, he's keeping a 15-second gap to Rivera as we watch King. Or who are we watching here? Yeah, King and McKessie battling. Again, you can't even see McKessie's car. The Bentley's so damn big. As McKessie pulls it down the inside through that hairpin turn. Oh, this is not a good place to go too wide through. He keeps it in, but wisely backs out. That as King goes wide. Let's see if he's able to. Oh, Bentley gets a little wobbly. McKessie's gonna see what he can do here. And now he's gonna try to get a good exit through this complex. King goes a little wide, which compromises this. McKessie now. Is he going to close the door? Oh, that was close. Now, let's see. Didn't clear him completely. Who has more of a engine underneath them? It's pretty evenly matched. Looks like the... yeah. McKessie pulls ahead of King now. I don't even know what car McKessie's driving. I don't even know what logo that is. Someone help me out. What's that
Aston
logo
Martin.
from Aston Martin? Gotcha. You can tell how much I drive that car.
car. And if I may, and we've all made this mistake, so don't feel bad about it. His name's actually McKeezy. It's Christian
McKeezy. I've only said it like 50 times this stream.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, I've said it probably 1,000 times.
McKeezy.
So I truly wouldn't feel bad about it.
All right, sorry, McKeezy. What's his first name? Christian, my deepest, sincere apologies. All right,
I
so
would have felt bad if I didn't correct that.
So McKeezy?
Yeah.
Okay, McKeezy. All right, we'll see if I can cement that in the brain. All right, looks like we have a change of position here with Bravo, and Burkhoff continues to struggle here. I wonder if there's maybe some pressures or something off. See what happens. Going into turn 5, it looks like. Gets a little... What's going to happen here? Yep. So Burkhoff continues to drop. Sometimes what happens if you change tires, it's very easy to forget whether or not your second set of tires are pressurized correctly. And sometimes you think you hit use current pressures, or you make your adjustments in the pit strategy page, and then you come out and everything is just off, and you realize, oh, I made a mistake. I never changed my pit stop strategy. And maybe that's what's happening here to Burkhoff, where his tires are not within the optimal pressure range. Looks like there's a change here with Wassam as well, who enters pit road. Comes out P8. So we have 15 minutes left. Let's see his... Looks like that is just a splash. Kind of just a get on with a Jackson, get off. No changes for him. And so just to level set, if anyone is just joining us, Rivera, Lindauer have not pit. Riley Minier has. Pickerel, Quid, Aldred, Miller, Wassam, Eric have not pitted. And
Wassam
then, sorry,
Wassam.
Wassam. Oh, that's right. Wassam just pit. Yep, sorry. So Wassam has pit. Eric has not. Sorry,
Keezy.
McKeezy. Ah, damn. McKeezy. I'm gonna like pretend there's two E's there and go McKeezy.
Yep.
There we go. Oh, as
Oh,
Wassam
we
gets
see it.
super sideways there, as the tires have not yet come up to pressure, probably, or temperature. Very easy to do that on that first couple laps out. As Eric closes the gap, we'll see.
Yeah, I'm not gonna battle him too much here.
All right.
I don't think it's in either one of our interests because I still have yet to pit, so we're running a different race.
So we'll switch back to Provolone and Roar. See what it looks like. Provolone got around Roar there, if I'm not mistaken. There we go. Yep. For 12th place, and that battle is still going on. Here we go. Burkhoff and Brock. So Brock on the McLaren is caught in the back of Burkhoff. Just lets him by on the inside. I feel like maybe he has damage, or he just knows he's off pace, and looks like the leader there, Rivera, has just lapped them as well. So lap times wise, last laps, Rivera 154.9, Lindauer 154.7, Riley Minier 154.2. So Minier definitely quicker. That gap now between Minier and Rivera is 17 seconds. So Minier has closed that gap 2 seconds from when he came out of the pits. Looks like McKessie here run a little wide as he closed up to Eric. And the gap now between Wassam and Eric has extended to 2.2 seconds. Provolone in the pits. Let's see what he does. For Southern Star Motorsport. Stops. Looks like he maybe missed the spots, the jacks a little bit. Gets back down and away, so no changes for him. No fuel probably, and no tires. He'll come out just to be, looks like, be passed by Lindauer, who's on the lead lap, and 27 Minier. So he'll come out in 17th. And Minier now closing on the back of Lindauer. So pretty impressive. Riley able to close the gap with Lindauer and Rivera still not pitting. That gap is now down to 16.5 seconds to the lead. So he has to be careful here. He knows Lindauer and Rivera have to pit. So this, want to make sure you get by him. You don't lose too much time, but you can't make any mistakes. Don't want to be too aggressive. If you don't make any mistakes, you probably have this race in hand. I know Riley's a smart driver, so to tiptoe his way through this, especially with the wet conditions. That makes that a little more tricky. Looks like McKeezy gets around Eric in the pits. See what Eric does here. Down to pit speed. What's the what do we got? 50 kilometers an hour. Still decent rain. Let's see here. Probably not going to be a pass until the front stretch. So let's see what Eric does. Stop in the stall. Up on the jacks, down on the jacks, and away he goes. See if he might be battling Cass Lasley out of pit road. Nope, Cass Lasley has him. And you have Rivera now coming up. And the leaders going by. So Eric going to be fighting with Brock out of the pits, and Brock has a head of steam. Passes him before entering turn 1. Oh, we got a change for second. We got some flashing headlights. Let's see what happens there. Okay, Lindauer in the pits. So realizes he's going to be passed by Riley, goes ahead. Oh, that was Riley signaling to the lap car. I want by. So Lindauer in pits. See what he does. Gonna guess here just on the jacks, off the jacks. Pitting this late. Yep, there he goes and away. And now see what happens when Rivera pits. We'll see how long Rivera goes. Yeah, sorry. We literally, Eric and I got this set up like 20 minutes before the start of the broadcast, and we had to download a bunch of apps and stuff. So I was not able to download the liveries in time. So my apologies. You guys have some nice cars.
For clarification, we started setting it up 20 minutes before the race started.
Oh, yeah.
We ended 10 minutes into qualifying.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, so and just to say again, appreciate you hopping on here and helping us out, and actually you're doing a phenomenal job, so you might have secured your spot as a streamer.
Appreciate it. I'm sure I'm going to go back and listen to my voice and say, yeah, I really do sound like Ray Romano, and then agonize over all my mistakes. But
you know I can't unhear that.
Now you can't. No.
You said it.
Nope. Someone told me that in high school, and it was while that show was in its prime. And yeah, now that's all I hear when I hear myself is Ray Romano. If only I had some Ray Romano lines. I do not. I don't remember anything from that show. Oh, it looks like there's some contact between Provolone and Burkhoff. Let's see. We go back and catch what happened here. Oh, jeez. It's like maybe Burkhoff got a little sideways, lost it, and Provolone gets caught up in the accident. Both get it turned around, and you had that McLaren there might have been a lap down, so that was not a spot for position. You have Bravo in the pits. Again, on the jacks, off the jacks. All right, let's get caught up here. Again, level set. Rivera in the lead, has not pit. Menier has pit. 16.5 seconds. That gap now is being maintained pretty well. Rivera actually had a faster last lap than Riley did. Quid, I believe, has not pit yet, if I'm not mistaken. Lindauer has. I think most of the guys now. I don't think Reed. Let's see. Eric. I don't think Reed Algert has pit yet either. So still a mix.
He hadn't while he was ahead.
Okay, he's still pretty good.
Been far enough where I wouldn't know if he.
Yeah. So yeah, apologies on not knowing who's pit or not. We'll see if I can find something to figure that out. An easy way to do it. So now the question is, when will Rivera pit? And what's the rules, Eric, on? Like, I know when there's a mandatory stop where there's an actual timer in a pit window, you can't pit on like the last lap and cross the line in pit road, right?
No, you can't do that.
Okay, so even here, that is not acceptable. You have to pit prior to the final lap of the race.
Correct.
Gotcha. So we'll see. It's still, I mean, Rivera's still in it. Pit delta, 25 seconds. Riley makes a little mistake, goes off track. That opens the door for Rivera, so it is not over yet. And looks like Reed Algert and Pickerel are very close together down the back straightaway. Looks like Pickerel gets around Reed. Yeah, I don't think Shy Guy has pit yet. And then looks like Roar in the pits as well in the McLaren. Concedes positions to Snyder, Provolone, and Burkhoff. Looks like he'll come out probably in P18 as Bravo goes by. You see the blue McLaren, and the next car is Lindauer, as you see on the front straightaway. So that is not for position. Car after that is 33, which is Pickerel, which is not for position either. So it looks like Roar may come out in P. That'd actually be a close battle with him in. Nope, it won't be close. He'll drop behind Cornetis in 19th. Closest battle now is Wassam and Kesey. I said it right. Look at that. Woo. And still wet, pretty stable wet conditions. I don't know, at least on the broadcast booth, it looks pretty consistently wet. There's still like a less wet line, but seems pretty consistent from the beginning of the race. As McKeezy tries to close the gap around the outside of turn number 4 into 5. Did I get that right too? Nope. 3 into 4. I always mess that up. Let's see. Switch to. This will probably be the battle to watch, and we'll also keep an eye on Rivera on when he pits, because at this point he is Let's see, Rivera's 4.44. That's easy to see on the track map. He has just crossed the start-finish line. He's into turn 3 and right now, and 4. So he has to pit. Let's see, it's about a, let's say 2-minute lap. He can probably either pit this time or next time, but that's it. He can't go any later than that, so. Right on board McKeezy here. Let's see if he can get a run on one of them. Through turns, let's see, going into 13 now, and this little left-right complex is 14, 15, and 16. As you see Wasson get the curve, McKeezy going through it pretty well. Let's see who can stay in the throttle the longest. Slight lift, both keep it off the rumble strips, which is a good idea in the wet. And quite a big gap. So nothing is going to happen into turn 1 here, at least this lap. We're right on board with Rivera. Again, has not pit yet. Meneer now, 15.5 seconds, so only closed about a second over the last 2 or 3 laps. And actually, Meneer, though, ran his fastest lap of the race last lap, 1:53.0. As you see Ricardo Rivera head into the pits, see what happens. Definitely knows that entry is further up on the brakes and down to pit road speed. See what he does, and look at the dirt on that McLaren. This game can be so pretty sometimes.
Yeah, the rain effects and the night oh my god, at night it's really hard to tell honestly at a glance that it's a game.
So there, if you see on the track map there, Meneer has passed Rivera, and now the battle would be. Let's see, we'll see where Quid comes out, but I believe Quid has yet to pit. He's pitting now. So he'll drop positions to, I guess the battle will be where Lindauer is. Oh, we get to see Delta. Look at that. I didn't know that. You could do that. So we'll keep an eye on Lindauer and see where Lindauer and Quid come out as Rivera safely into second spot. So Quid, I believe, has made his stop already. And, oh, no. He's not. He's further up. So he's stopping now. Lindauer then easily going to get by Quid for third. And the next up is Pickrell. So we'll see if Pickrell's going to be able to get by Quid, who is not rolling yet. Now he's rolling, which then leaves it to be Reed Aldred. So maybe Reed has pitted? I mean, if he has, I mean, fantastic. Fifth, he was back around 10th, 11th, 12th. So we'll see if I missed something. And this is just a fantastic drive for Reed Aldred.
Ed, are you able to type in-game chat? Because Reed might not know that there's a mandatory pit.
I don't know if I can do that in window mode. Let's see. Oh, I can. Want me to tell him?
Yeah, just say all drivers mandatory pit required. Reminder, all mandatory pit required. Oh my gosh. I just realized that as we go into the last lap.
Just need to stop and go on jacks, right?
Yeah.
All right, we'll see if that would be so unfortunate if he didn't know that.
Yeah, I appreciate you doing that.
Oh yeah, no problem. All right, let's see here. So Meneer, comfortable lead, 22 seconds ahead of Rivera, who then is 27 seconds ahead of Lindauer. That is not for position there. Pickrell back. So the only battle on the track is Wassam and Aldred. We'll see if Aldred got the message. He does come into pit road. So now we'll have to see where Reed comes out. Wassam will easily go by. And then we have Quid, Keezy, King, See King all going to get by. So we'll see where Reed is able to cycle through as he finds his way into the pit stall. Let's see, next car is 59. So 59 is Kaz Lassie, who's now rounding the final corner, 16. And you see him there on the green rumble strips, rolling. It looks like Kaz Lassie will pass. Next car would be Brock. And then Eric Miller. So maybe the battle might be between Eric Miller and Reed. Let's see. Oh, and sorry, missed it. Riley crossing the line, P1. Dominant performance here, 23-second gap to Rivera. So Manier taking both races heftily. Is that a word, heftily? We got Rivera now rounding corner 16 through the yellow smoke. Very good spot for him. If I remember right, Rivera finished P2 last race, didn't he? So did the top three remain unchanged? Manier, Rivera, and Lindauer, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe Rivera and Lindauer were swapped, but same top three. Great run. Lindauer now coming into turns 14 and 15. Around 16. Good delta. I don't know what that delta's. That's last or best, but has a very good time here. Loses a little bit coming out of the corner. Let's see, he'll run a 155.4, so that might have been his last lap. Pickrell now crosses the line, P4. Cody Wassam, if I'm remembering if it's Cody, P5. Quid in the McLaren, P6. Akezi in P7. And then you have King coming around P8. And now we're a couple battles here with Kaz Lassie and Brock trying to figure out who's going to get 9th and 10th. Looks like they'll finish as is. It's a good run for those drivers. Reed Aldred, after that late pit stop, comes in 11th. Eric Miller 12th, so Reed is able to stay ahead of Eric Miller. And
10th of a second. Wow.
Yeah, that was close.
Crazy.
And it looks like you were the first car. Yep, there you go. So you had finished previously. So
yeah, that's one of the things that kind of bothers me about ACC is like, what if 10, 11, 12 got into an accident on the final lap? Like, you know, 13th could have overtaken or whatever it is. I don't know how it works in real life, but
if you're once you're behind the leader and you cross, you're done. So you don't continue if you're behind the leader. But if you get passed on the last lap, you can continue and finish your lap.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, I understand that. It's just, you know, you lose a lap's worth of opportunity to potentially overtake.
Yeah, true. So here we go. So where do we end off here? So Eric P12, Provolone. Well, now everyone's starting to leave here. Bravo, Roar, Granotis, and Orozco. There we go. So yeah, I appreciate everybody hanging with me. I know we're going to try to get some people jumping up in the interview booth here. So I think, let's see if we can get, Eric, you want to see if you can pull people in?
Yep,
since
got Riley here.
Riley, another dominant performance here with race number 2. I think you had about a 25-second gap to P2. How was it?
It was good. You know, felt really comfortable on the setup I made for kind of the wets. Had to adjust the Coach Dave's a little bit because of the update, but felt pretty good. Drove well. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with it.
Any point during the race where you thought things get a little dicey, or did you feel in control for most of it?
I felt kind of in control. I was a little worried, admittedly, about Mike, because I wasn't sure what he was doing. He was running about similar times as me. Towards the beginning of that race, he felt really he was pressuring me a bit to like stay consistent. But then when he went into the pits, I noticed that he was in there for a long time. I'm guessing he accidentally switched to dries because when he came out and I was behind him, he was just so slow. I felt bad for him. But other than that, no. After that kind of debacle with Mike, I felt fine. No pressure.
Yeah, we saw there were a couple different strategies there. Yeah, it looked like he did take tires. We weren't sure if it was just Go ahead.
That's Mike Burkhoff for those that don't know.
Yes,
Gotcha.
Mike Burkhoff.
So, was your strategy? When did you know that hey, I'm gonna pit? I'm guessing you were full fuel, right?
Yep, full fuel. Just jump on jacks. The reason I pitted so early is because I looked and I saw that there was a huge gap, kind of between like first and or like third and fourth had a large gap. So I knew I'd slot in behind Lindauer and I'd be able to pretty much have free track. Then when I caught Lindauer, he went straight into the pits and I was able to just keep running pretty much unopposed. So
Yeah. Any concern that it was gonna go dry, kind of like what it did in the first race, or were you pretty confident that it was gonna stay wet?
I was pretty confident it was going to stay wet. I didn't think it was going to like transfer too much, especially when in the beginning when it said it was kind of light and then it just said it was going to get heavier and heavier and heavier. I immediately knew, okay, this is just going to rain the entire time. So I was like, all right, we'll stick to it. And if it was going to change, I just thought it was going to switch to lighter rain, so I wasn't too concerned.
Gotcha. Yeah, we're wondering how that was gonna play out with the first race being kind of chaotic, going dry, wet, dry.
Yeah, that
So
one was stressful.
definitely made for a good stream for sure.
Definitely.
So great, yeah! Congratulations on two P1 finishes. You head into the final round at Spa in the points lead. So hopefully you can maintain that and pretty close to a championship.
Yeah, I think so. Disappointed, Ed, that we couldn't continue our little battle throughout the season, but I think at this point it might be. I'm hoping it's not wrapped up. I hope there's a chance for someone to come back in it, but I think it might be at this point.
Yeah, I don't have access to the points, but hey, I got to try some broadcasting, so this is pretty cool.
Yeah, that is pretty cool. I'm
But hey,
excited. I'm excited for next season for a hell of a battle with you.
for sure, for sure. Here, same here. So yeah, great. Congratulations, Eric. You have anything for Riley?
No, great job. Great job. And I think you do have the championship wrapped up, so congratulations.
Yeah,
Thanks,
congrats.
guys. Appreciate it.
And we have Mr. Stefan Lindauer in here. So
Hello.
Lindauer, are you willing to admit you're a fast driver now? This was the commentary on stream, albeit it was from me. My comment was everybody knows Lindauer is a fast driver except Lindauer. So it's 2 third-place finishes in a row in the wet. You got to admit it.
I think this is my first ever double podium on a weekend.
Yeah, so you're a fast driver.
I definitely got lucky this week.
See, I told you guys he would not admit it.
Oh, he's down.
But credit to you. You ran a great race, both first and second, and showing your skill in the second race. How was your battle with Rivera?
Did I battle Rivera too much? I don't. I honestly, I'm blacked out most of the race, so I don't remember most of it. I, yeah, the battles were pretty good. I just had to make sure that my car, I didn't touch any curbs because if the camera ever saw me, especially in the first sector, I was sideways.
Yeah, we were watching the battle between you and Rivera a little bit. It looked like coming off that final corner when you were behind him, the McLaren had some pretty good exit speed, but he had kind of made a little mistake, and you had the oomph
Yeah.
down that straightaway. Made a good pass on the backstretch. How was it with the wet conditions? Was it fairly consistent, or did it
Yeah,
change a lot?
the road was consistent. It definitely seems that the curbs are a lot nastier
Hmm.
than before. Um, but yeah, I had no real qualms with the race. Just made sure my traction control was set up correctly and adjusted brake bias as the time went on. Other than that, it helped the already good Lexus in the wet.
Great. Well, fantastic. 2 races in a row.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, good job. And solid performance for Southern Star this weekend. And looking forward to see you guys next weekend.
Speaking of that, Cass totally forgot to that he didn't need tires. So
Hopefully they weren't dries that he switched them to.
no, thankfully they were not. But he definitely could have been potentially fifth had he not taken tires.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. And you know, that's one of the cool things um, in ACCs that there are so many things. Just the realism is so there's so much to think about and
Hmm.
so many things that can go wrong, which like in real racing, there's a lot of factors that you have to take into consideration: strategy, tire temperatures, pressures. And that's one of the things that I do love about the game is that there's a lot to think about. It's you can't just be a fast driver; you have to be your own engineer as well.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations, and see you next week.
Yeah.
Good drive. All right.
Well, I don't think we have Rivera in the
Yeah, I'm
um,
looking for him. I don't see him.
yeah, but what we can do here is usually at the end of our stream, what we do is we host somebody else. So I just posted something in your message box there, and I believe if you copy and paste that into your Streamlabs, we will be hosting Cruz Davis, who's streaming on Twitch right now.
Okay, you're gonna have to tell me where I paste this into.
So just in the chat in your Streamlabs, if you paste it, that'll hopefully work.
All right, what if I don't have
And,
any
and
chat in my Streamlabs?
ooh, um,
That was the issue. I think I had to pull up Twitch in a different
okay,
window to
okay.
see the chat, so I probably did something wrong.
Ooh, let's see. Why don't you tell the streamers a little bit about um your time deltas between the 1.8 and the previous
While you
update,
get
and
this
then
set
we'll
up, yeah, I'll
yeah.
kill some airtime. So it'll be interesting for Spa. It seems like all the cars and most tracks are anywhere between a half second to 1.5 seconds off, just based on minor tweaks to setups. So it seems like that gap over the last week or two have come down a little bit, where I think some people are even running faster times than what they did pre 1.8. At least from what I've seen from like Niles and Tortellini and some of those guys. But it seems like it does require a decent amount of setup changes, where you're not just tweaking existing setups. It may require some pretty big overhauls. I know CDA is doing stuff where they're offering or starting to build CDA 3 sets because it's fairly different. So just rumors and whispers now, I guess, from what I've read. But it seems like dampers and things like that have changed enough where, in order to really extract the most time you can, it requires some decent tweaks to the setups more than just brake ducts and um, camber settings and things like that. So we'll see. It's been interesting for sure. Kind of in some respects, it feels like a brand new game, which I think has kind of revitalized it a little bit, breathed some new life into it. And we're excited to see what's going to happen now with some of the announcements that they've hinted coming beginning of next year. Hopefully, GT, some of the Americas tracks is what it seems like maybe happening. So definitely excited for this change and sort of what's to come, and a lot of good changes on the horizon.
Yeah, and so just looking online as a Twitch non-expert, I think what is possible in your Streamlabs OBS, it might be a minimized, so maybe look for an arrow somewhere where you can drag it down and expand the chat box a little bit. And if that doesn't work, then we'll just give it up for this time, but hopefully figure it out for the next one.
Give me a second here. Yeah, I got a pretty basic window. So, studio mode, layout editor. Yeah, it's not looking good, my man. I got a mini
That's
feed, and that's about it. So,
in your okay, your mini feed's just the responses from the chat.
I
Okay,
don't even
that's all
see
right.
anything. My mini feed is blank.
Okay, that's all right. We'll figure it out next time.
All right, apologies. I appreciate everybody hanging with me here as I kind of figured this out, going through it. And thanks, Eric, for giving me the opportunity to do a broadcast. It's been
Oh,
a fun.
the appreciation goes both ways. Appreciate you hopping on here and keeping the stream alive. Mr. Jason Alvarez, our Main streamer has been having some internet connection issues, unfortunately, so has had to step down. So really appreciate you stepping in and taking over today.
Sure. Yeah, glad to help out.
All right, well, that's it from us, from Tracklicious Sim Racing. Our next season will be starting in January, along with our partnership with 949 Racing and our endurance series that's going to start back up again. Let's not forget to mention the Silverstone endurance race coming up next week on December 11th. So that's going to be huge. Really exciting. 8 hours of Silverstone with Tracklicious and 949 Sim Racing. So if you haven't signed up, do so. We have a great lineup of cars, great lineup of people, and looking forward to streaming that one with Mr. Whelpcakes, Philip, uh, from 949. So that's going to be exciting. Thank you again, Ed. You did a phenomenal job. Really appreciate you hopping on here.
Hey, glad to help out. Thanks.
All right. Good night, everyone.
All right, take care.